up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode and live stream of Let's Get Nuts here on the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Guys, we had so much freaking news this week, I didn't even make any shorter video content. I was like, I'm just sliding it all into Sunday with the boys. Today we're talking about Wonder Festival, of course, all of the crazy stuff that we're seeing out of there in terms of figure news, the InArt stuff. We have some Jazz Inc. pricing updates. I've got the entertainment news side as well. Joker 2 is flopping like crazy, and I'm curious to see what the boys say here on the panel, as well as you folks out in the community. But of course, guys, with that being said, it's such a big show. So, all that being said, let's get nuts.
What are you doing? You're completely outnumbered here. Are you nuts? You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts?
You want to get nuts? You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Alrighty, let's get her going. So, I'm having a lazy Sunday today, Red. I'm smoking this morning. I'm playing my video games. I just ate a bagel backstage here before we jumped in the show. And so if I say anything super awkward today, it's just because I'm tired. So don't take it personally. I love all you guys and being here, getting nuts with me on a Sunday. I've got a great panel for you guys. I want to bring in our first guest of the week. We haven't seen him in a little while. His YouTube channel is called Pop Culture Relics. And of course, we have Lewis here with us once again. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing, man?
You been good. How you doing, man?
Dude, I've been doing pretty well. I just couldn't believe how much shit we had this week to talk about. So again, we're gonna skip around a little bit. If there's anything that you notice that's not on the slides today, or the community out there watching, let us know. We'll definitely bring it up if there's time to do so.
Yeah,
hell yeah,
excited to be here.
But I also, right before the show, signed into Facebook and I saw a really cool picture of you. So I'm going to bring that up in a couple minutes for everybody because I think it's worthy of some questions and discussion. I'm
sure.
Curious how that went.
Thank you.
But good to have you back, buddy.
Likewise,
of course,
thanks,
it's not a stream unless there's money involved, right? We're talking about hot toys all the time, and there's one person that really keeps me on track when it comes to the money, and it's, of course, Eddie Money Mendez here with us again, yawning backstage. You'll love to see it. We caught you mid-yawn there, buddy.
Yeah.
How you doing?
What's up, guys? It's a lazy Sunday for me, so
Yeah.
hence the yawning. I sleep in on Sundays usually, and I was at a baptism / first birthday last night for one of Adriana's friends, firstborn kids, and so we were there pretty late, hanging out and having fun. So, yeah, but excited to get the invite from Ben, and anytime I can, I'll join. So, yeah, let's get nuts, man.
Hell yeah. I didn't know first birthday parties stay up so late, Those little one-year-olds, they're crazy. Yeah.
Been doing it wrong.
Mexican parties. And I left at like 11. We left at 11 because it was like an hour away. And then when we were leaving, all of the girls' aunts and cousins were like, the party's barely starting. So, yeah, Mexican parties, they go until
They go hard.
2-3 in the morning, dude, drinking and having fun. And they had a band and they were all dancing, and so it's cool. A lot of food.
I'm gonna keep suntanning myself, so eventually I can just get invited to one of these parties and see how it goes. I'm
Dude,
a little too hasty
I'll
still.
invite you to a party. You just need to be in California. You can go if you're ever out here and it's timed well, and I know of a party that we're gonna go to. Yeah, I'm inviting you.
Sold.
And you
Sold.
can see.
Well,
There's no
we'll take
nuts though.
pictures.
Spoilers.
There's no nuts. That's okay.
Just
I'm so white I'll
tacos
haunt
and-
the party, but that's okay. No. Love to see it, buddy. Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
I always appreciate you being here, man. Of course, I know I've got the high energy. Eddie brings the medium energy. You love to see it. We divide some balance in the group. So good to have you here. Of course, we got one final panelist here with us. That's actually his third week in a row. So clearly, I'm doing something right. He's sporting the cowboy hat. I thought he was wearing a Ninja Turtles t-shirt, but not so much. But we got X-Men Supreme here again. Good to see you. I saw the green writing and I was like, that's got to be Ninja Turtles, and then realized it was not. How are you, good sir?
I suppose you're all wondering why I've called you here tonight. No, it's Madison and Wongers, yo. This is the
Hell
team
yeah.
we need.
That's awesome.
Telling
Where'd
you,
you get that?
I want a 2-pack of these. What's that? Did I get these from? I want to say it was Shirt Punch or something like that. They had all of them,
That's awesome.
man. That scene where the dude had the black market Avengers shirts, they had them all. I bought them all. They're great.
That's amazing. You know what's funny? That was kind of one of the underlying best parts of the show, in my opinion. The She-Hulk
It was
show
so good.
was
It was
the
so
celebration of Wong. But we still need his figure, right? I mean, at some point we're gonna get a Wong
We
figure.
need Wong, and I gotta have Madison.
I would hope.
I gotta have Madison and Wong. I gotta have a couch.
Madison. Nobody would know who Madison is though in the display. Everybody would be like, who the hell
I'll
is
find
that
someone to
from?
do a custom.
That's the one
awesome.
spin-off everybody wants. That's it.
Yeah,
I gotta have them
That's
watch The
right.
Sopranos.
Nobody
yeah,
wants
that's
it.
right. They need like a little love seat to hang out on together, watching TV
Yeah.
or something. That's it. So,
Yeah.
dude,
Oh,
good to
yeah.
have you here, Dave. Thanks for
Thank you
being
for having
back
me,
again.
sir.
Always appreciate it. I wanted to quickly share this. This actually was not in my slideshow today, but this popped up on my Facebook literally as I was sending out links.
Hey,
Lewis, you got to tell us about this photo. Where was this taken? What was it like to meet these guys in
Oh
person?
man, would love to. I'm still riding on the high on that, so excuse me if I feel a little exhausted. But yeah, this was at LA Comic Con, which is still going on. It started yesterday, Friday, sorry, and then end of today. But as you can see, I've got the GOATs in my opinion. Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor. I want to say this is one of the first times that they've actually done a duo photo sesh, and they were doing autographs as well. And I couldn't miss out. And LA's with light traffic, it's about 2 hours away from me. So had to make the trip, booked it early enough. These sold out, of course, I want to say like a few weeks ago, maybe. And then, yeah, it was just crazy. I mean, meeting them, which is not something that I ever planned on, of course, but meeting them together, Hayden to me is exactly what he seems, just kind of soft-spoken, quiet, and then Ewan just a little bit more upbeat, but really like gentlemanly, I should say. So the English was definitely coming out of him.
That's interesting. Now he's
Yeah.
Scottish, is he not?
Oh yeah, Scottish. There you go.
Okay, I was gonna
Folie.
say. This
Folie,
particular
yeah.
event, he was
Messed that up.
pretending
Yeah,
to be English,
got it.
though.
That's right,
He's
yeah.
overseas. That's the point. He's
Yeah.
overseas.
That's right.
An
Over-
overseas
there you go.
accent.
Same thing. Same thing. It's over the pond.
That's awesome. That's awesome. They're
that Great
English.
Britain accent.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
it.
amazing. No, I'm so jealous you got to meet these guys, dude. That's freaking awesome. I honestly rewatched the movie The Island with Ewan McGregor in it the other
Oh, yeah.
night. I used to love watching that movie back in the day. I hadn't seen
Yeah,
it in
it's
probably
a great
10
one.
years. Great one. Great film
Yeah.
if you haven't had a chance to see it. But oldie
That one's
but a goodie.
underrated.
Well, that one had Michael Clark Duncan in it as well. God rest his soul. I love that guy. So many good actors. Scarlett Johansson, all of the above. Even what's his name? Guy with the googly eyes. What the hell? Steve Buscemi is in there as well.
Oh, yeah,
which is awesome. So
Yeah, that's a
googly
great one.
eyes.
Very
Good to see
underrated
it.
film, I feel.
Crazy
Hell yeah.
eyes.
Hell yeah! But let's get into our first warm up of the day, guys. Thanks for sharing your story, buddy. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you, man. I loved it.
Definitely jealous for sure. The goat.
Definitely recommend, if anybody has a chance to see them, do it, because, they're great guys.
Hell yeah. We already have 45 people in the chat. That's amazing. Thank you so much for coming in so early, guys. Getting nuts with us on a Sunday. Love to see it here. This popped up. There's a couple of slides, but I think universally most of us have access to Netflix nowadays. And this gave the 31 Days of Halloween Netflix challenge. And I was curious if there was any movies on this list or even any other movies maybe that you guys just typically watch leading up to that spooky season, of course, of being Halloween. For me, I would say kind of my one film that I almost always watch before Halloween is actually Beetlejuice. But I watched that in September before I went and saw Beetlejuice. So I don't know what one I'm going to see this year. In terms of this list, it's been a while since I've watched the It chapters, chapter 1 and 2. At least 5 or 6 years since I've seen them. So that might be a 2-4 that I do at some point before the Halloween season. But curious, Lewis, any movies on this list that stand out to you? Something that you like to watch before Halloween, or is there any other scary movies that always kind of get you in the mood for that spooky season? Let us know in the chat as well, guys.
I do a little bit of both. I'm seeing, honestly, as sad as it may be, I probably only would see like 4 or 5 of these. The Witch was solid. Um, Evil Dead Rise, that was actually one of the better kind of remakes. It not so much. I mean, I liked it, but yeah, not like a tradition. Having kids and just being the big kid myself, the Hocus Pocus is always a tradition that we always do. Um, Conjuring is solid, but most of these and having sequels, looking at some of these, yeah, I'm afraid to admit I probably haven't even seen like 3/4 of this.
Well, and there's always the junk on Netflix too, where you're like, they're like they'll recommend it, and it's like, even especially the holiday movies that like around Christmas time, I'm always like, oh, I want to watch this Christmas movie, and you go to Netflix and they don't have it, and you're like, how
Yeah,
do you not have this one staple movie? You know, So there's a lot
sure.
of shit on there for sure.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
no, for sure. What about you, Eddie? Any ones that stand out here for you in terms of their Netflix suggested list, or is there another spooky movie you always like to watch before the spooky season?
Uh, me and Adriana are like really different on this. I'm much more of a like I don't know what the right way to describe. I'm not the biggest horror guy, so for me, Halloween is more of the fun, like spooky Halloween stuff. More like Lewis said, like Hocus Pocus, or like I watched Zombieland the other day because I wanted to watch a
Oh, that's a good
Halloween
one.
movie, and she was like, Adriana's like, that's not a Halloween movie. I was like, there's zombies in it. And she's like, no, that's not a Halloween movie. I was like, what the hell is it then? Like,
It's like
to
horror
me,
comedy.
that's what Halloween is for me. It's more like Elvira, like the goofy Halloweeny stuff. That's what I like to watch because I just don't like. I'm not look. I grew up a big pussy, I would say. So like, I don't like being scared a lot. I will watch them. Like, I'll get in a mindset of like, I actually do want to watch some of these. Like a couple of months ago, we watched all the Conjuring films because I was like, I want to watch all these again. So we watched them all, and I love those movies. But like, it's very rare that I'll want to watch horror stuff. So out of all these, I think I've only ever even seen like I've seen Scream, I've seen It, I've seen Halloween, obviously, and then the Conjuring stuff. But the rest of it, I haven't even seen. And is like I might put on the Conjuring during October this year, but I don't, the rest of them I don't really. They're not staples for me. Halloween, I don't even. This is another one that like people are gonna hate me for, but I don't even like love Michael Myers. He's my least favorite of like the old school ones. Like I'm a bigger Freddy and Jason guy, but I do love I think the one that everybody hates, the one where it shows him from a kid and growing up, Michael Myers. I think that one's like the one that people like the least, but that's one of my favorite ones.
Just because it
but
gives
yeah.
a more full story, or like.
Yeah, I like seeing how he started off, and then grew into the Michael Myers that we know. But yeah, I'm much more of the funny Halloween stuff than the horror stuff. But the platform, they just came out with a sequel for that one, so I actually might watch those this year.
Okay, I haven't seen that one yet. That's been on the like. It keeps suggesting it to me. But I
Yeah.
haven't seen it yet. I also really like. Speaking of like horror / comedy, I used to like Hocus Pocus as well as a kid. I could not bring myself to watch Hocus Pocus 2 though. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to wreck it for myself, so I never watched the second one. Let me know out there, guys, if you think I should. And
It's
the
not
Michael
terrible.
Myers. Well, in the Michael Myers film, the Halloween movie, every time I watch that movie, the song that do 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 gets stuck in my head, so I end up playing it in the car when I'm driving around for work, which is really creepy when you think about it. But it's like an earbug. So, Dave, what about you, buddy? Anything that stands out here, or any Halloween movies you like to watch during that lead up to the spooky season?
I don't really do the traditional Halloween movie watch, though I will say I never saw The Witch, and it's kind of in the back of my mind that I want to see it. So I might do that this year. But mostly, I love YouTube reactions. It's a sickness, and I'll sit through so many reactions of all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies and friggin' everything else from that era, and I just love that stuff. But like, I might find myself a copy of the Peanuts, The Great Pumpkin. Love that.
Ooh, yeah.
Love that. Used to watch that all the time, every year.
You're just playing
when I
to
was
the
a kid.
audience right now. Peanuts on Let's Get Nuts. You're just playing to the crowd,
Right,
here, buddy. I see
right.
how it is.
But no, man, like this and like it, but not the most recent it, like Tim Curry it. I love that. I know
That
it's
one's
not
creepy.
accurate
It's creepy.
to the movie or to the book, but still, that's what I saw when I was like 10, 11, whenever it came out. I love that shit, man. I'm all about that. But yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Quick call out. Thanks for your answers, guys. Definitely feel warmed up as it is. Quick call out. Very, very, very happy to see this person writing in our chat. We got SpongeBob SquareBalls, Classy Thomas, saying he's out of COVID isolation, now in pulmonary wing. Lungs are needing some healing. Holy shit, dude. I am so happy to hear from you because I've been texting you for the last 2 weeks and I haven't heard back. And I was starting to get really, just stressed out. So I'm really happy that you're on the road to recovery, sir. Please, if you haven't already, guys, everybody in the chat, send Classy Thomas some well wishes. We got to get you back here on Let's Get Nuts as soon as you can breathe and laugh along with us, buddy. We love you. We miss you. Thanks for being here, at least on the show. Hopefully you enjoy the show. I'll try not to make you laugh too much, okay, Classy? Do our best, anyways. Do our best. Guys, The Joker 2. Couple things to note here. Joker does not have an end credit scene. So if you don't love the movie, don't waste your time waiting through the credits either, because there is no mid-credits or end-credits scene. So there's that. Then, it's also been reported this week that The Joker 2 has now one of the lowest critic and audience scores of any DC movie that's now been in existence. And I was disappointed by this because honestly, I was really looking forward to this film. I loved the first one. And of course, who wouldn't be hyped for a second version, especially with Lady Gaga being in there. I thought it was going to be smashing. But I was curious because there is only one panelist here that's seen the movie so far. So Eddie, without spoiling, because there's still probably lots of folks in the chat who haven't seen the movie, could you give just a kind of a quick overview on your thoughts, non-spoilery if possible? Because then I got some questions for you.
Okay, so I want to preface this by saying I don't want to. I was the first. I want to say I was like the only one in our circle that exclaimed how much I loved the first movie. I loved the first one a lot. And I was always defending the second one because, it came out that it might be a musical. There was singing. And I was defending that too. I was like, look, the music in the first one is great. It's not going to bother me in the second one. I think Lady Gaga being cast was awesome because I thought Margot Robbie is a perfect Harley Quinn to me. But if there's someone who could justify it just as well or do better, it would be Lady Gaga. She just has a good Harley Quinn look. And then as far as this universe for this film, I thought she would fit well into it. I saw it Thursday night and I personally hated it. I don't like it at all. I also said from the beginning that I thought them making a second one was just a cash grab. I didn't think that it needed a sequel. I liked where it ended us. And I feel like that because it's just a cash grab, I feel there is some inconsistencies to the first film. So I really didn't like this one at all.
Fair. And how were the musical numbers? Did you feel like they fit the movie? Was there too many of them? What was your gut check there?
Personally, they took me out of the movie.
They took
most
you out.
of the time.
Okay.
I think that they are
Interesting.
what people are thinking that they'll be. It's his fantasy world that this musical stuff is happening in. But for me, it just took me out of it. They'll go off and he'll go off into singing at random times, and it takes me out of it the whole time. And Adriano said the same thing when we were watching it. It just felt out of place in the movie.
Yeah, fair enough. Absolutely. I see Collecting Weekly in the chat here. Mr. Zach, the Oxfather, says, Ben, do you hate me? No. Why? Did I miss a chat or something? Were you asking to come in? No, I don't hate you. Love you very much, good sir. I don't know what that is in regards to. Let me know in the chat. Eddie, I was curious. Now, because you're a pretty smart guy, and I think the majority of our viewers are pretty smart people. And lately, I've been wondering, Do you think people don't like this just because it's a bit more of a thought piece film? Like they're like, I hate to say it, but like it requires more thought than just being able to go in and have kind of mindless fun. And I ask that because this movie is just getting dragged over the coals. But the people who have said that they liked it seem like they really like it for like the thought piece aspect of the film. Whereas a lot of people love Deadpool and Wolverine, and no shade to that movie. I loved it too, and I thought it was super fun. But it was pretty light on the thinking. Like you could just go in and watch it and leave, and that was pretty much it. It wasn't very thought provoking. Do you feel like audiences now are getting bored with films that require a little bit of extra thinking, or do you think that that's not it here? It's just wasn't a good story. Like, what are your thoughts there?
I think that people that like it are holding on to that aspect of this because I feel like that's the only thing that you can argue and win in an argument why this film is good. Because to me, the first one I felt was a little thought-provoking, but not overly thought-provoking. I understood what it was, and I loved it for it. This one, it feels like that mindset of it's a thought-provoking film. You have to understand it to love it. That's all you're holding on to. Because to me, the character is completely different in this movie. The things that people are saying you have to think to understand, they already went over in the first movie. And if you didn't get it in the first movie, I don't understand the redundancy of doing it again in this film, which I feel it does. So, like, when I talk to people that say they love it, because I've had a couple conversations about it already, and everybody's hanging on to it's a thought-provoking or it's a beautiful movie. It is beautifully filmed. Obviously the first one was beautifully filmed. It has a great cast and like the acting is very well done. So all of that is good, but I don't feel that's what makes a good movie. And also, I'm not a big like A24 film fan. Like a lot of those movies are thought-provoking and you have to kind of understand what they were trying to portray for the film, and it's like sometimes it's just like, yeah, but if I have to think, like overly think, you lose some enjoyment of it. Like, yeah, I don't mind thought-provoking films. A lot of horror films are kind of thought-provoking in certain ways. But, like, if I have to, like, really try to understand why I like this, why am I forcing myself to like this movie, you know? That's what this one does. Like,
that's true.
So, I don't know. It's just...
What I'm getting from you is it almost sounds like it just didn't need to happen. That a lot of the information that they've kind of reiterated here was already really covered. So it just didn't need.
Yeah, the stuff that stopped, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, what everybody's saying is like, oh, it's a deeper dive into his psyche. You know, it gives you unanswered things from the first, like all of the deeper dives I can argue are in the first movie. And even the way you're left off from the first movie feels like you get set back in the beginning of this movie. So I'm like, it just feels like they threw this stuff in to create a film that was never supposed to happen. So
absolutely. Classy Thomas is wondering, was Gaga a good version of Harley?
Gaga was great at acting in it, and she was great at the singing, which obviously she's not going to be bad at the singing, but am I going to say she's a good Harley? It's, first of all, it isn't. If you think the Joker wasn't your Joker in the first one, she's not Harley. She's a character with the name Harley that's in the psych ward with him. So, makes sense. Yeah, I wouldn't say that she's a great Harley.
Awesome. Thank you for giving us that, and thank you for not spoiling it as well. Last question here, I guess, and I'll put it to my other two panelists here. 12-inch Moose Stream says, if a sequel sucks, does it screw up the first or the original love that you had for that first film? What about you, Dave? What do you think? Does if a sequel sucks, does it mess up the first love for you?
No, I don't. I never understood that. Like when people talk about how, and believe me, the sequel trilogy is grade A garbage, and you're not going to convince me otherwise. But I don't understand when people say like it ruined Star Wars, you know? Because Star Wars, I've heard a couple people say it, and I agree, it's still there. You know, everything that's come up to that point, whether you loved it or hated it, is still there. So the stuff you like, you still have it. It's not like, you know, the I am your father, you know, moment is ruined now because Ray has the Force. No, it's it's I don't buy into that idea at all. Um, maybe I don't look at it right. I don't know, but it never bothered it for me. I agree though that I don't think that the first Joker, and I know a lot of people also. I feel like it's like just the main consensus is that this movie didn't really need a sequel. I feel like we got everything we needed from it, and it was pretty good. I feel like it could stand on its own just fine. But we got another one, so I definitely got to check it out. I think it's worth having a look at. I mean, there's only two things that I really want from this movie. Like I'm gonna see the movie. I'm just gonna let it be what it is. But I'm hoping that I can get a Harley figure out of this. I'm hoping I can. And I want to find somewhere somebody making that friggin' newspaper because I want that. I want that newspaper.
Totally. The Crazy in Love one? That's a great paper.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But that's it for me.
Agent Silverfox says, people are more upset that this movie wasn't linear, i.e. didn't progress into the Joker like they wanted. Funnily like the theme in the movie. Totally see that. Would you say to 12-inch Moose Dream's comment there, Luis, do you feel like a bad sequel can wreck the original for you? For me, Beetlejuice 2, I didn't love that movie, but it doesn't detract from my love for the original. I just don't know if I'll watch the second one ever again, to be honest. Maybe one more time, just to make sure I don't love it. But what are your thoughts, buddy?
No, I'm in the same mindset as Dave. I know the sequels. I personally like the sequels, but they don't hold a candle to the original. So same thing. It's if the sequel comes out and it just destroys what came before it, it's a sequel, right? It came after what you fell in love with. So that shouldn't destroy your mindset or your view of the franchise in whole. It could skew it, but I just don't understand the mindset that I won't buy anything else from the franchise anymore because this sequel ruined it or this show. I mean, I don't get it because you fell in love or you liked it prior to a certain point, whether it's a character or the whole thing. That shouldn't go away just because you don't agree with how the ending was.
True.
But, everyone's going to be different. I personally don't see how that could ruin your love.
For sure. Well, and not even necessarily the ending. I think originally this was supposed to potentially turn into a trilogy, but I wonder if that's even on the table now after the results of this. The reason I thought that was a good question from 12-inch as well was, of course, a lot of folks are waiting for that InArt 4-pack or 2-pack, right? And that's a huge amount of money to be investing in those figures. If you see the second film and no longer love the character, is that going to create cancellations? What do you think, Eddie?
So I've been thinking about this because why do I care? I really fucking hated this movie. I really hated it. I don't know why I'm trying to sugarcoat it for people that like it. I hate it. I think it sucks. I will never watch it again. It's trash. So,
can you tell us how you feel?
Yeah. I really don't like it. And I think it's a gift to be able to separate things from other things in that same universe, like the sequels from the originals. I always thought I could, but I don't know, maybe it's just the way I am. It's harder for me to, if that's part of it, it feels like a part of it, and it does affect, maybe it won't make me dislike the first movie, but it does affect my thought process when thinking about that thing, the first movie or that universe or whatever. So I have the 4-pack on order, and I still love that first movie. I love what they did, but when I think of the Joker now, especially, you guys have to watch the film. It's a spoiler to say that to me they ruined what they built in the first movie with his personality and his specific Joker. He's such a powerful, at the end of the first Joker, his it's a switch. He's the Joker. It's such a powerful emotion they leave you with, and I feel like this one just turns that off, or it just goes against it 100%, almost like the sequels. It to me, it almost feels like it's directed by a different director. It feels so different personality-wise from the first one. So I'm like, it does affect how I feel about those orders, and I don't know, maybe I'll keep them, maybe I won't. I'll watch the first movie again and decide if I need it, but it did affect it for me. And I wish it
Hey,
didn't, but
Eddie.
it does.
Can I ask you? I'm curious. Does it make a difference to you either way, or would it if, like the ending of the first movie, right? How there's always been the debate: did it really happen? Was it just his imagination? Would either direction sway your thought on this movie, or is it just either way?
Well, I never liked the idea of like it was all in his head. I don't know. So if it was more of that, which I'm not saying the second one isn't, there could still be an argument made to the first movie was all in his head. It's not like it defines that at all. But I personally never loved that theory, and I would like it less if it was that. But yeah,
I've seen people say that is almost a cop out sometimes, right? Like for
It was all
bad
a dream.
storytelling. Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, or time travel can fix it. One of the two. Multiverse. He's a multiverse Joker. This is a different universe that we're watching in Joker 2. You hate to see it. Sounds like it almost was though for Eddie, for how he felt about it. So guys, let us know what your thoughts are on the movie, non-spoiler if you can, for the folks who haven't seen it and still want to. I still do want to see it, so I can formulate my own opinion maybe on the upcoming shows next week or the week after. I'll give you guys a little bit more of my maybe more spoilerific thoughts on it once everybody's had a couple weeks to be able to get out to the theater and see it. Guys, we have almost 70 people watching live on Sunday afternoon with us here. Get nuts. Thank you so much for being here. Quick shout out to Six Scale Mafia, Anthony. Happy birthday, good sir. I saw that pop up in the chat and on Facebook today. Hope you're having a great day. Restful one, good sir. Another year around the sun. We love you. Keep chugging and keep doing great work on your channel as well as with the Exo 6 stuff, because I love Star Trek a lot. Guys, I've got one more piece of movie entertainment, maybe kind of spoilery news to talk about. Then I want to say hi to everybody in the chat, and then we're going to dive into figures, because we got so much Six Scale stuff to discuss today. But I'm going to bring this next slide up. This could potentially be a slight spoiler for the Venom 3 film, The Venom Last Dance. I'm not sure if it will be or not, but these popped up on Facebook this week from Regal Theater. And of course, you're seeing anti-Venom. You're seeing a drink cup there. You're seeing a popcorn bucket with Venom's face. But the one thing that really stood out to me this last week, and we're going to talk about it in figure format as well, is this Venom has the white spider symbol on his chest. Now, I wonder if you guys think that this is just the theater creating a popcorn bucket that is very iconically comic-inspired Venom? Or is this a spoiler for Venom 3? Are we going to see the white symbiote on the chest of Venom and, of course, anti-Venom as well? Now, one of my theories there is that Null, the kind of the god of symbiotes, he typically has a spider symbol on his chest. And he's rumored, or I think confirmed at this point, to be in the third film, for better or for worse. Could Venom's interaction with Null give him that spider logo without any interaction with Spider-Man? Is this a spoiler, potentially? The other piece of my tinfoil theory here, and roll with me on this one, is that this week at Wonder Festival, we're going to take a look at it in a couple minutes, there was a Venom figure that was also teased that looks exactly like Venom from the Venom films in terms of the body. I think it's exactly the same figure body. And on that figure, he's got the white symbiote spider. And all they've done is call it Comic Venom for now. But the logo, the Venom logo on the base, looks very much like the Venom film. And I'm curious if you think that that's also just that a little bit of extra piece of like spoilery news there that they just can't tell us yet. So they're calling it Venom comic inspired instead of Venom the Last Dance figure. So guys, I'd be curious, what do you think? Is this a spoiler? Do you think that they're just trying to give people a piece of comic history, and obviously Venom with the that logo on his chest is very iconic? Or do you think this is a spoiler? Eddie, I'll go to you first, buddy. What do you think?
I think it's a good theory, and I like that you tied that figure they showed to it, because it does kind of like add to the theory of like, dang, that would be hilarious if people got spoiled and didn't even realize they got spoiled. They just loved, because everybody loved that announcement. They're like, oh, that looks sick. Personally, it would piss me off if he got that logo without having to like interact with Spider-Man at all. Just because like I read those books like probably a year or two ago, and I love the story of it, and like just for continuity wise it would piss me off. But then again, these movies are all over the place, and I hated the second one. The first one I liked, I didn't mind it. The second one I hated. So this one I wasn't even planning to see it, but I got a ticket for the fan event showing, and I only got it because they're giving away like some Venom stuff for the fan event. So I was like, oh, I want some of that. So I got the ticket, but so I'll see it since I got the ticket, but I have no like high hopes for it. So watch me come out of this one and be like, oh, it was all right or whatever. But I don't love it. I don't love that they're just throwing in Null. To me, I don't know those stories, but I feel like he's a very big character. At least he is now in the Marvel comics. So like to have him just shoehorned into a third film, it almost feels like they should have built up the story over all three films, almost like a Thanos or whatever, you know. So
Agreed.
I don't know, but I like that theory. I kind of hope he does have the spider on his chest, but I hope it has something to do with that end credit scene where we saw him go to that universe with Tom Holland, and like somehow that's how he got the symbiote touched the suit, and now he's, at least if it has something to do with that, I'll be more happy.
Maybe.
But yeah,
I think they might have already retconned that though, Eddie, because I think that they show like the TVA agents like suck the Venom symbiote up and be like, nope, nice try, but nope. So
yeah,
could be wrong there, but I think that might have been
Yeah.
retconned already, unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. And again, going back to that figure that we'll look at here shortly, it definitely looks like it's the same Tom Hardy Venom body otherwise. So it could make sense for me that that's maybe a spoiler to the movie. Pedro Lopez out there says, thanks for the spoiler, Ben. Hey, it's not a spoiler if I don't actually know. I'm just spitballing. This is put out there by Regal Theaters. Screw Regal for giving us the spoiler, if that's the case. Dave, what about you, buddy? Do you think my theory could be on point? Do you think I'm just, scratching at walls here? What are your thoughts?
See, I keep hearing the argument about he's going to have the symbol because Null's going to show up and Null has a symbol. All right, jerkwads, let's talk about this. So we all know that if Venom happened in the comics the way that he happened in these dumpster fire movies, Null would not have any kind of spider on his chest because there was no Spider-Man because nobody cared. No, doesn't matter. I don't care if he made the Necro sword. I don't care. Null is apparently a big deal. Whatever. He's got the spider, so casual readers can link him to Venom, can link him to Spider-Man, can care. That's why. That's marketing. That's what that is. I don't care how they explain it in the comics. Doesn't matter. That's why they do it. It's why Mace Windu had a purple lightsaber. So you could tell him apart from everybody else in the big battle scene. I don't freaking care that Null's showing up. Now, I watched those first two Venom movies. And the only reason I did is because I heard the buzz that they were going to tie it in to No Way Home. I'm like, well, gotta see him now. And I watched the first one, on Amazon. And at that time, the second one was in the theater. I walked out of that theater so mad that I spent my money. So mad that I spent my money. And then they did the whole scene at the end of No Way Home. I was like, well, I didn't need any of that for this. So...
Especially since they immediately retconned it.
Yeah, and then they tried to do the whole thing where it's like transcending time and space and multiverse and all that stuff. We're a hive mind. I'm like, fuck you. Go straight to spider hell. I don't want to hear any more about this bastardized Venom and all this crap. It's garbage. Carnage sucks. I don't care who doesn't like it. The Carnage sucks for every reason that he exists. Let me spit my Venom out. I don't care. I don't. Screw Sony is what I have to say about that. That's all. That's all I got.
Dave, I mean, I'd say that was a tough nut for you today, and I think this is you today, buddy.
I suspect she's quite a tough nut. And I'm quite a tough nut to crack on.
Quite a tough nut cracker. That was a hot take there. Love to see it. We got Press X to continue here says, never seen a Venom film. Are they any good? I did like the first one. I will say I had a fun time with it. I was excited for the second one because I was excited to see what Carnage would do and how crazy Carnage could be. And it felt very watered down. I really didn't enjoy the second one, unfortunately, because I wanted to. And I would have been okay with the Venom trilogy not involving Spider-Man if it had been a bit better of a story, a little bit more meat on the bone. But it felt pretty watered down, unfortunately. And Venom is one of my favorite characters of all time. So we'll see. I would love to see McFarlane style Venom at some point, both in figure format, but also on the big screen. So maybe we'll find out. Shiny had a good question or comment here. He says, maybe the white Venom is his girlfriend and it's going to be some kind of musical about their relationship. It might honestly be. Let's see. That's awesome, dude. Okay, well, guys, I'm effectively warmed up. We got to get to some figure news, but I do want to say hi to the 60 to 70 people that are out there in the chat already here. Let's say hello to everybody.
Is that everyone? I keep wanting more.
Nuts!
Assemble.
Nuts assemble. Who do we have all in the chat? We got a lot of folks here, so I'll try to make this as quick and effective as we can here, guys. We got Clinton Martin in the chat here. First one in the chat today. Good to see you, my friend. We've got Trevor Weed here in the chat, one of my Star Trek bros. Good to see you, buddy. Thalia Meyer in the chat. Hello and happy Sunday to all. Good to see you. We got one of our great channel members and community members as well, Valkyrie Magnus here. Good afternoon, guys. Time for us to get nuts. You'll love to see it. X-Men Supreme, both in the channel membership, on the channel, and on the panel. You'll love to see it there. We got Sith Scale Collector Mike couldn't join us today. Hopefully we'll get him back next week. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're having a great day. 12-inch Moose stream. Wouldn't be a stream without you, buddy. He says, hello, community of experienced most painful sideshow queue. Sorry, let me read that again. Hello, community. I have experienced the most painful sideshow queue with the Harley last Thursday. I mean, I did get it in and score, but it was excruciating 10 minutes. I missed mine. I slept in and got to the queue too late and immediately missed it. So if anybody decides they don't want their Harley conversion, hit me up in maybe on the Instagram chat. So we got Thron's office here, Joker, Folie these nuts. Love to see it. We got Noble Young in the chat with us. Good to see you, buddy. Pop Culture Relics in the panel, in the chat, and on the channel membership. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. We got Big Rip here with us as well. Once again, channel member with us as well. What's up, Ben? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Let's see who else we got, guys. We got Eclectic Collector here with us. Hello, everyone. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Agent Silver Fox is here with us, and I saw him saying he wants to potentially come on Let's Get Nuts next week to counter Eddie's points about Joker 2. So I'd be down to have you, my friend. Send me a message on Instagram and we'll definitely get you in the show. That'd be awesome to have you, buddy. We got Yomo in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Collection Obsession channel member as well. Good to see you, my friend. He says, hi all. We got Rogue One Photography channel member. Nut Fun, Tough Nut. Love to see it there, buddy. We got Press X to continue. Glad you're coming back week over week, buddy. It's great to see you here in the chat as well. We got Mr. Money Mendez here in the chat panel and a channel membership as well. Thanks for being here, guys. Just so you're aware, since we have so many people here, we lost 2 channel members this week. I was sad. I'm like, why did they leave? So there's 2 extra slots there for people who are interested. I'll put the link in the chat here in a few minutes, guys, if you're interested. So you can get all those cool nut badges beside your name and all the emojis there, of course. Let's see who else we got here, guys. We got Jose G. Hernandez, Jose Plus. You love to see it. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for, of course, being here. Christian Crosshair Cooper. He says, what's up, guys? Going to get hit with another hurricane. Geez, please pray for everyone in Florida. 100%. Please take care of yourself there, good sir. Thanks for being here while you, of course, could be. And yeah, best wishes to everybody out that way for sure. That's scary as shit. SpongeBob Square Balls, Classy Thomas, I miss you, buddy. I wish you were here. But I hope you're feeling a little bit better and smiling over there, of course. It's not like your massage chair, I'm sure, but hopefully they get you comfortable, even still. We got Figurecraft Philly in the chat with us. He says, hello, have a great stream. Happy Nutty Sunday. If you guys have somehow missed it on Facebook, make sure you go and subscribe to Figurecraft on YouTube and check him out on Facebook as well. He was just working in his garage on Friday night on the craziest Batman 89 forest display I've ever seen for his his Batmobile that he got from Jazz Inc. It literally looks like it's straight out of the movie. It's wild. So go check him out on YouTube, but also on Facebook, because you got to see those pictures if you've missed them. They're wild. Good job there, buddy. That was insane. Pedro Lopez, good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. Sorry for spoiling Venom. Hopefully I didn't for you, but you never know. We got, who else here? I think almost everybody. Let me just make sure. I don't want to miss anybody, of course. Loco Lou, what's poppin', people? In spirit, love you, buddy. Thanks for being here, man. Hope you're doing well. We're going to get Loco Lou on the channel here at some point as well. I've been meaning to send out invites, and then just the week flies by every single week, of course. Let's see here. We got Collecting Weekly, the Oxfather, and representing the show. He's saying that I left the chats. I did leave some of the group chats today. I've been getting very overwhelmed by group chats. I'm missing people's messages all the time and feeling pretty bad about it. So I figured, you know what? If I pluck myself out of the group chats here, if anybody wants to reach out to me, please reach out to me directly. It's a lot easier to get my attention because lately I've just been missing so many people's messages and I feel like a bad friend and that's not cool. So that's why I popped out now. I might come back at some point, but it's nothing personal. That's for sure. We got Collector Joey in the chat with us as well. Joker 2 shouldn't get under a 6. Yeah, I think you're a little bit biased though, Joey. I'm not too sure about that, but make sure you go over and get subscribed to Collector Joey's YouTube channel. I love his Copper Drop show on Thursdays. Great show with the boys there as well. I think that's almost everybody, guys. Thanks for bearing with me. Of course, again, 6 Scale Mafia. Good to see ya. And once again, happy birthday. Good, sir. We got Summers Fam in the chat here. It says, that's why I didn't want to see it. I feel like they ruined the first one. Bummed about this one with regards to Joker. You hate to see it. We got Tyria in the chat saying hi to Moose. And of course to everybody else there as well. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being here. We got Mark P in the chat with us as well. Happy birthday, Ant-Man. I didn't know it was Ant-Man's birthday, or unless that's for Anthony, I would maybe assume. But if it's Ant-Man's birthday, that's kind of random too. But I don't think so. Let's see here. Shiny in the chat. What's going on, buddy? Popcornized Venom. Cool. Man, that's hard to read. But I get what you're saying. Let's see here. We got West Michigan Collector. That's a new name, I think, in the chat. Great to see you here, buddy. Thanks for joining in. He says, agreed, these movies are doo-doo. You hate to see it. We got Cylon in the chat with us as well with a hi, everyone. Batman_collectibles here. Evening, gentlemen. Good to see you, my friend. We got Molly Chamber in the chat. Sup, guys? Good to see you here. New name as well. Thanks for being here. I definitely appreciate that. Let's see here. Oh, and last, but of course not least, 6 Scale Reviews. Make sure you go over and subscribe to his channel as well. I think right now he might be in Ireland. Maybe he's back already, but awesome YouTube channel. You got to check him out. Some of the reviews there are freaking wild. So you'll love to see it. Yes. Hello from Ireland, everybody. Make sure you say hi to Shane. Don't let him get you too drunk, okay? We know how that guy can be sometimes. He's usually drunk on the stream. You hate to see it. But guys, that's it. That's everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We'll read off the channel members here at the end of the show, of course. If you're interested in becoming a channel membership, these are the membership badges that will show up beside your screen name as you progressively progress through the months. Most of us now are in the Live Long and Nut. Some of us are getting close to that Bub Nut status now, so you love to see it. I'm excited for X-Men to get to the Bub Nut status because I know that's one of your faves. So hell yeah, good sir. But of course, then we also have all of the emojis here that are available to you as well when you're in the chat. I still think smashing the nut button is one of my favorites. But the Nut Buster is also up there, so you love to see it there. He said Shane was a gentleman. I hope he didn't, I hope he didn't get you too tipsy. You don't know about those Irish guys sometimes. You hate to see it. Let's get into the news here, guys. Jazz Inc. Has given us an update on the sitting down Batman for the cockpit of both the Batmobile and the Batwing. And the reason I wanted to bring this up really quickly was just to say bravo. the price point was supposed to be in the neighborhood, rumored at about $175. And I think most of us were like, I don't know if I like it enough for $175. That's getting into like figure territory, and it's very much a prone sitting figure. Like that's what it does. And if that's what you wanted, then I think it's great, but $175 still felt kind of expensive. Update came out this week. $125 is the price point that is being put up at. And immediately I saw people saying in the chat, great, I'm now buying 2. So made me laugh. I love to see that. I think it just goes to show that Yost is not only paying attention to the community, but also trying to pay attention to the pricing. He could charge $175 for this thing, and people would still probably buy it. He'd make money off of it. But if it gets Jazz Inc. products in the hands of collectors and it makes people happy to the point where they're considering buying 2, I think that's both a win for Jazz Inc., but also a greater win for the community. So I just wanted to give that update right away. Are any of you guys on the panel picking one of these bad boys up for your Batmobile or anything like that?
I'm seriously considering it because I'm not going to put it in the Batmobile because I'm going to have the canopy closed. Like, there's no point. But I am considering it for the Batwing. I still haven't decided, because I've had my Batwing for like several months now, but I still haven't really found its final resting place yet. Like, I still don't know. I take forever to make decisions. Like, I don't know if I want to go ahead and buy the mount from whatever that place is that makes the mount with the Bat logo on it. I don't know if I want to put it up on the wall like that, if I have room to do that. I still am not sure how I want to go about it. If I want to just have like a case made, put together that I can put it in. And I had this grand idea that I just decided not to do because it would cost way too much, take up way too much space. But man, it would be beautiful. But I don't know if I'm going to have it sitting or standing or what. So as soon as I figure that out, I may just get them anyway. Because, yeah, you know, because why not?
You just because it's cool to have, honestly. Like, I could totally see it, to be honest. 100%.
Why not?
Guys, yeah, I forgot to put it in there. Channel membership is in the chat if you guys are interested. Become a member. I love to call out your name every single week. And anything that goes there helps towards giveaways. We got a 30,000 subscriber giveaway coming up here shortly. I just reached out to Collector Zone today. I'm going to see if he wants to get in on it. If not, I'll pay for it myself, and we'll send something out to all you folks watching. Lewis, you said this isn't something that you're thinking about getting in the display, buddy?
I think the price is great. I actually got a Jazz Inc. waitlist conversion for the Batmobile. That's how great I feel that it had turned out, despite what drama was a couple weeks back. I think if you have one of the vehicles at that price point, it's solid. I was even telling some of the guys previously that if you buy just like a basic black 1/6 scale body, like call it a clone trooper body, and just buy like a cowl separately, like that was good enough for me, because you're really not going to see anything past maybe the symbol, you know, whether it's in the Batmobile or the Batwing. So that to me would have just been fine. But at this price point, it's pretty much the same. You know, body goes maybe $70. The cowl with the mouthpieces maybe another 70. So if you can get a whole body now, then that makes sense. Like, so this would be something that I would get, but I'm still debating.
$125 puts it in that, like, yeah, I think I'll just get one territory for me. Like, honestly, it seems very reasonable. I think it would be cool to have, even if I like sat him on my shelf, you know, like just have a Batman sitting there. I think it'd be funny. So
put him in a lawn chair.
Yeah, right. Like, there could be so many random shit. You put him up with put
a martini in each hand.
Go on go on like a Wayfair, one of those places where you can get like a 6 scale couch and a little footrest. Sit up there with a beer or 2 beers.
Give him the bat remote and put a little TV in front of him.
I love that, man. I feel like that's like a Bob Dylan display through and through out there. Shout out to Bob Dylan, by the way. Shout out. Guys, let's move on because we got so much stuff to talk about. So, of course, at Wonderfest this week, we also got a chance to see some InArt stuff. We'll take a look at the Hot Toys stuff here in a couple minutes. I'm going to go through some of these slides here, and I was curious from all of the panelists if any of these stood out as like I want to buy that, or if it's really just like that's a cool factor type of figure. So of course we got the figure here from the Wukong game. I was thinking about buying this game yesterday. It's still at like the $80 price point, but I've heard really good things. I think it's cool that InArt's giving us a figure from it. It makes me want to play the game to see if I'd like it enough to actually collect from. They showed us Michael Jackson a little bit closer up here as well. I actually think the likeness on this is really freaking good, but I have no desire to collect a Michael, unfortunately, so that'll be a skip for me. What's this guy's name again, Eddie, if you can help me remember? I can't, is it Thorin? Or I can never remember this guy's name. Thorin? Yeah. They did an update on this sculpt, which is insanely good in comparison to the original that they showed, about a year ago now. So good job there, InArt. Again, this is a skip for me. I just don't have the love for these films like others do. Legolas here, I showed this to the girlfriend and she was like, oh my god, that looks 100% like the actor. What the hell is his name now? It's on the tip of my tongue, but
Orlando Bloom.
What was his name? Orlando Bloom. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Katy Perry.
Yeah, there you go. Right, and now the only time I ever see him is with Katy Perry. So, but
Sure.
Legolas also had a couple of different looks. This actually isn't my favorite look for him, but this is from the Fellowship, so it makes sense why they'd give it to us first, of course. Right, some of his armor pieces that he's got in the later films, full transparency. But I do think this looks freaking good. I just don't think I would collect it at the price point, to be honest. But and because of my nostalgia, I don't have that same level of nostalgia. The Harry Potter figures they showed us are Ron. And the Hermione, of course, a little bit more updated. I still think Hermione is a little on the weak side. We got Professor Snape that they've shown us here as well. I think that one looks really, really good. I think he looks just like the actor, to be honest. So if you want to have him represented, I think that looks great. We're seeing some Walking Dead figures, which we've seen in the past couple weeks here. This Rick definitely looks like he's about to cry and scream Carl. You'll love to see it. As well as, of course, Daryl, which I do think is the standout of this line. And, of course, Negan. And last but not least that showed up here, which I was also excited to see, is a Selena Kyle, or Catwoman, of course, Anne Hathaway's version from the Dark Knight Rises film. So, guys, that was a lot of figures to quickly scroll through. I think for me, this figure in particular makes me want to sell the Catwoman that I got from Hot recently. I just wasn't happy with her. Straight out of the box, she's got a really ugly seam line at her forehead. It honestly looks like she's wearing like an Anne Hathaway skin mask. Like it's horrific the way that the hairline wraps in. This looks way better, and this is still in prototype stage. I've seen people saying that this doesn't look good yet. I think this already looks better than the Hot Toys representation. Now, do I love the character enough to spend the InArt dollars? Maybe. I'm gonna have to get back to you guys on that one. But that was a big standout for me. All of the rest of them, I honestly think that I can skip. I think they're wallet savers for me. Eddie, of these photos that we just slide through, are any of these standing out for you that like need to come to the collection, or would be like a nice to have, or were these skips for you as well? Where are you at?
Definitely the Lord of the Rings stuff. Legolas and Thorin, I've been excited for those for a while, and Thorin looks really good. And I love
Yeah, it does.
The Hobbit just as much as I love Lord of the Rings, and the dwarves are probably my favorite characters in general. So yeah, I'm excited to see how good that one looks. Catwoman was a cool surprise because I don't have great memory. I guess I don't know if they teased that one, or that one was kind of a shock to see for me. I don't remember if they had teased they were doing that, but it looks really good.
I remember seeing it. I think that I think John at one point on the kind of his circuit had said they were looking into it, but I mean, who knew if that was going to actually come out?
Yeah, I know, and they always put out lists and things, and they go back on the lists and like what's actually happening. And so I was shocked to see that one, and I think it looks really good for the prototype. And I'm not 100% sure that I'll get her, because I don't even have a 1/6 Bale Batman anymore. I never got the Dark Knight Hot Toy ones, and I had the Begins one, but I was kind of hoping that InArt would do that suit or something, so we'll see. But and then I think the Walking Dead figures look sick.
So good.
I was a fan of the Walking Dead. I
Daryl's
never
insane.
finished it. I think I got to like 7 seasons or something, or and they look really good. And I think just the like history that show has and the fans that it has, whenever something like that's a really big deal for TV or movies gets made, I want it just because of how big of an impact that thing had on pop culture. So like, you know, people may not like the way The Walking Dead went, or you know, whatever, that people aren't, it's not as popular as it used to be, but like it's still like one of the biggest TV shows of all time, you know. So like that just makes me like it. So
Totally, dude.
and then Harry Potter kind of falls in that realm for me. Like I kind of slightly regret not getting at least Harry because of how iconic that is for pop culture and everything. And I did like the first couple of films. I still don't think I've seen the second half of the last one. So I need to get on that. But I was never like super big Harry Potter guy. I liked it a lot as a kid, but I never like really geeked out and watched all of them and stayed with it. So the first one is kind of nostalgic for me. So as everybody wants the older versions, I thought it was cool they were making the younger ones. I think all of them look really good. So part of me just wants them all, but because it's InArt and it's so expensive, I'm like, yeah, but do I need to spend like $1,500 to get these characters? I don't know, but all of what they show is always really cool. You know, regardless of what, you know, they're slow or they need to get their shit together, all these things, like still everything they show is always sick to me. So
I am always really impressed with the hair too. It never looks like too poofy. It always looks like it's actually like actual hair on the character. I think that looks amazing. It's funny you mentioned Walking Dead because I still remember sitting down in the living room. This has got to be 15 years ago now, or maybe less. 10 to 15 years ago anyways, for the first pilot episode. My best friend and I, you know, we got our weed rolled up, we had our snacks laid out, we had, at the time we lived together in a living room where we had two televisions side by side. So on the one TV we were playing video games while we waited for the show to queue up. It queued up, we watched the first episode, and we were hooked. We were like, oh my god, that was the craziest like zombie television show I've ever seen. And that was just the first episode. I'm like you though, Eddie, I never actually finished The Walking Dead. After, and this is maybe a spoiler for people who haven't seen the whole series, so I apologize, but after Glenn got killed by Negan so violently, I was out. I loved Glenn. I thought he was awesome. I would love a Glenn figure. When that bastard killed him, I was like, nope, I'm done. That's it. I don't want to watch it anymore. It's too dark for me. I don't like it anymore. And I stopped watching. But it became so much more, became less about zombies and it became more about the degradation of humanity, which, if that's something that you're into, I think that The Walking Dead does that really well, right? Showing like the de-evolution of our humanity and how we would act in a post-apocalyptic world after not just the first year, but after years of dealing with that, you know, civil unrest and groups of people who are all after each other. Nobody's the good guy and nobody's the bad guy anymore. And I think that they did a great job at showing that. And, you know, I always did have love for Rick. Honestly, I think if I got any of them, I would put a Rick and Daryl in the display because they were both great. But Boondock Saints, you know, is also one of my first favorite movies of you know, the actor who plays Daryl Dixon. I can't remember his Norman Reedus, one of his best movies in my opinion. So it would be cool to have a Norman in the collection. Luis, of these ones that popped up here from InArt, anyways, did any of these stand out for you of a figure that you would like to get in the collection?
I mean, I think they're all great figures. The ones that I would probably really only buy would be the Selena Kyle. I had the Hot Toys version 1, sold that. Then version 2 came out. I'm like, you know, it just looks really just a reissue with updated paint apps, right? And then I see this, which I think came out of left field. I feel like maybe Wonder Woman would have been more of an expectation, but this, at least to me, kind of came out of left field. And it does look better. Significantly better, you know, that's always one's opinion. I guess it'll just depend on price. You know, thankfully, it looks like the biggest thing is just going to be the sculpt. Everything else, you could just put a basic body, and as long as the material won't tear too much or deteriorate like pleather or Hot Toys, I think it should be fine. But hopefully they can keep the price pretty low. Then I'll be picking this one up. But all the other figures look great.
Dirk Diggler's stunt double, great screen name, by the way. Is it me, or does the form of Catwoman look long? It does look a little bit long. I can see that. I think it's interesting too that there's still the boot bunching issue at the knees, similar to what Hot Toys faces. I can't get the bunching unbunched on mine. It literally came out of the box that way. But in terms of the pleathery material that's made of, like that's going to be the first to go, just like my original 1.0 version, unfortunately. But no, great thoughts there, Luis. What about you, Dave? Anything that popped up here for you, buddy, that you're like, oh yeah, that's a buy, or was this a skip for most of these? Where are you at?
Yeah, I haven't. There's only been like 2 InArt figures that I've really been, like I love that 4-pack Joker. I would love to have that, but not something that I'm gonna spend that money on. Superman, when they announced him, I was like, oh my gosh, that's great. But I had too many pre-orders at the time. I'm like, I can't pre-order something else right now. And now he's out and he looks amazing. And I'm like, damn, I really want to get that Superman. But then, Harley came. I'm like, well, no. So like, there's so many other things, there's always priorities, right? I do want to point out, I love how in the back of most of these pictures, you got Hot Toys creeping with their logo. Like how you got Ron's wand pointing right at it, and is right behind Hermione's head. Yeah, look at it.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Hot Toys is like,
amazing.
We know what we're gonna do.
That actually looks really good. That's awesome. I did not even notice that. Good catch. Damn.
Yeah. They're like,
you're 100%.
yeah, InArt stuff, but hey, Hot Toys.
Don't forget. That's awesome. Quick thing here, Mr. Musashi, what's up, Ben and crew? Any updates on Classy? Classy is in the chat today with us. Good sir, he is doing okay. They've moved him to a recovery wing, so he might see your comment. Maybe he'll be able to respond, but he's doing better, on the road to recovery. Thanks for asking there, buddy. Definitely appreciate that. Yeah, interesting thoughts, but yeah, no, great take there, Dave. I think all of these are great. To be honest, it's just amazing to me. When I first started collecting Hot Toys, like 14 years ago, it did feel like there was those collectors out there who could keep up, that they could buy almost everything that kind of came out. And now with all of the competing companies, InArt, even J&D in the game, Mars Toys, So Toys, like So 3-0, so many different lines that make Skip Scale. You got to be a very rich person to be able to keep up with this many figures. So I think it's interesting now, these panel shows, they used to be like on the show, everybody would be like, oh yeah, I'm totally getting that. And oh yeah, I'm totally getting that too. And that too. And that too. And now it's a lot of like, yeah, it's really cool. I'd love to get it, but yeah, no, I can't. Where am I going to put it? So I think
especially the third parties,
still fun to talk about, but especially the third parties. Yeah.
Like they're killing it in a lot of cases. No, not all of them, but like the big ones, and like you got that Supergirl coming out, right?
Yeah.
Hot Toys made the one from, and that head sculpt update looks amazing.
It does.
And I have that on pre-order. But now, like, So-So's making Melissa Benoist. And I've been wanting that one for a long time. So it's like, dang, do I get both? Yeah.
Well, and even still, speaking of like other companies, J&D. Now, I've been on record to say that I did put in a pre-order for the J&D Joker, which was a $200, what's it called? NRD. And it's like a $2,000 figure, I think, for Canadians here. So I think it was like $1,500, which is a shockingly stupid amount of money to spend on any figure. I don't even care if it's your favorite figure or not. It's a stupid amount of money. And J&D
what was it that drew you to it?
What's that, sorry?
What was it that drew you to it?
For me, Heath Ledger is my favorite comic and movie-inspired villain of all time. I've seen the Dark Knight movie in theaters at least 14 times. I still have all the ticket stubs. Nice. I loved Heath Ledger's performance. If I was going to clear out half the villains in my display for the most premium version of Heath Ledger's Joker, that's what I would do. And when I first saw the pre-order photos go up for this figure, I was like, it does look pretty friggin' amazing. But then this showed up this week, and I'm like, that doesn't look $2,000 amazing to me anymore. And I've seen a lot of people, they've been sending me custom head sculpts, and like Bob Dylan's pointed out a couple to me as well. Shout out again to Bob. But there's been so many great customs that have been kind of popping up in the market lately. I'm like, you know what? I've got enough Joker bodies in my display I am talking myself out of this one hardcore, guys. Honestly, I'm pivoting like no other. I'm burning all of my D&D bridge down. I am even willing to lose the $200 NRD at this
And
point
keep in
because
mind-
there's no chance. There's no chance I want to spend $2,000. I don't think. So you're keeping yours, or you're still on board with keeping it. Tell us why. What's
Yeah, I
your
mean, I'm
calculus on that?
one of the few. I feel like you and I, and kind of our little circle, are the only ones. So I have the J&D Christian Bale 2-pack statue. I was a huge basher on their Joker. It still looks horrible, and even the Christian Bale, it's not a perfect likeness. What J&D does, and what we're seeing with the kind of later sculpts, is I don't know what they do or why, but it has like a gaunt look. And even with Superman, Indiana Jones is getting some hate as well. For whatever reason, it's like they take their own artistic interpretation and just make the sculpts look a little more gaunt.
Sick. They're almost
yeah,
like a little
yeah,
on the sick
and
side. Yeah.
right, and I've heard that the paintwork is flat. I just think because of the silicone being that it's porous, you're not going to get that kind of more vivid colors that you would get on like a fully sculpted piece. So that translucency and whatnot, it just doesn't translate well on photos. But I'm also not going to be one that defends J&D and says you have to see it in person. It's a complete 180. That's not the case. In person, it looks better, 100%, but not significantly better. If you like pretty much the prototype, you're gonna get very close to that. And if it's a bad enough prototype that they take feedback, they'll make it slightly better. But it usually isn't worse. I just think this is the very original prototype that they made, and clearly they didn't set it up. The same thing could be had with Hot Toys Artisan Joker. People were bashing that hair, and that looked terrible in some setups. I mean, these people are setting up this stuff for what, 2 days, and it's hours on end, so they're not gonna futz it and make it look pretty and presentable other than just a basic setup. So I think with enough care and attention, this could look great. To me, it looks good. The neutral sculpt always was the stronger of the two sculpts, but I just think they just don't know how to pose their stuff. And J&D always gets super critical in terms of how they present their photos. Like, their videos are top notch, but the photos that they pick are not good. So I think this will look great. I really do. But I can understand the initial hate, and I think it's the price. Again, if you put all of the Jokers from Hot Toys, InArt, J&D at the same price point, I would say most people will probably pick the J&D, and then maybe InArt, and then Hot Toys. Or even now, I think Hot Toys sculpt is a little stronger than the InArt. But at the price, I think that's what people are like, you're paying so much for this, right? I still think it's a strong sculpt, but that posing and that like turkey neck, it is trash for sure. So I'm putting my faith in them, and I hope that they don't let me down on this one, because this is their first 1/6 scale figure, and if it's just a bad release, I think they're going to be done for, which is why they've already brought out that kind of cheaper 1/6 scale line to really try to find that market that works for them in terms of pricing without sacrificing too much quality. Sorry for the rant.
No, I think that's an amazing take, because I've got some comments there as well. Team All 86 says that Joker pose looks like a parent dancing at a kid's dance. That's true. I like that. A quick note too, we just had 81 people watching live. I think that's actually a record for Let's Get Nuts. So guys, thank you for being here on Sunday. That was exciting to see that 80 cross number. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
To your point, Luis, I think you're right. I do think that they do struggle a little bit on the posing. I think there's some struggle in like how quickly they need to set this stuff up. If this was a $300 to $500 figure, I wouldn't be so critical. Mm-hmm. But when I'm looking at spending $2,000 on this character, they need to send people who can pose it. They need to send people who can style it. They need to, like our friend Marco from 166 would say, they need to control the message better. Because honestly, just like I've had the same criticism with Exo 6 Star Trek figures lately, if you don't control the message, you'll lose your collectors. You'll lose the people who are putting the money into these things. And I'm a huge Joker fan. They are catering to me by this release, and yet I'm slipping. I said at the beginning in my initial take, I'm like, I don't know if it's worth it anymore. I'm getting fearful that I'm going to lose money, waste money, or if I get it in hand and I'm not happy with it, nobody on Facebook Marketplace is going to buy this thing for $2,000. There's no way I'm going to get my investment back. And so I think that if they don't control the message better, more people will pull out. And honestly, of all the collectors that I talk to every single day and week, yeah, it's you and I think Will Foxification. Those are the only two people that I've heard are actually, other than me, thinking about getting this figure. So guys, let us know in the chat if any of the 80 people here watching live, are you picking up the Joker from J&D? Do these photos change your perspective like it is for me? It's hurting it for me, I'm not gonna lie. But guys, let's move. Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry. One thing that, and I don't know if it's intentional, if they keep that pose, I don't know if they're showing the longevity of the silicone with the neck being bent up that high. You know, a lot of people could think it's going to tear. You know, I'd say 99% of the people that are getting it will not pose that. But if it's to show the dynamism and how flexible the silicone really is, then that could be why they do it, you know. But yeah, I'm hopeful, man. And if you do pull out, that's fine. I'll be more than happy to bring it on camera and, you know, mimic that same pose for you.
That's also what she said, honestly. Pretty much word for word. Super random. Classy Thomas in the chat here. SpongeBob SquareBall says, hit the like button. If you guys don't mind, I always forget to ask. It's definitely helpful. It drives more traffic to the show week over week. I appreciate it there. This was huge news for me this week as well. The teased Ghostbusters 2.0 from Blitzway, the 4-pack, is here, or is coming at least, and man, am I pretty jazzed about this one. The Ghostbusters have been figures that I've wanted for almost as long as I've been collecting, but the price point was just like so freaking high that once again I was like, I just can't justify it. Now, there's no chance, even if I can get these figures in my collection, that I'll ever be able to justify an Ecto-1, even if they re-release that. It's just so big. I've seen it in, you know, guys' collections like 6-Scale Mafia, for example. Beautiful piece, size of a fridge. I'm like, it's shocking to me. I don't even know. I still have the Batmobile sitting behind me. I still don't know what to do with this freaking thing yet. It's so big. There's no way I could do the Ecto-1, but the figures, hell yeah. And you guys know I've not been a very big fan of the Present Toys versions. I think they're okay. They're passable, but I don't think that they're great. And I freaking hate Star Ace. I will never support that company. I don't like their releases. I don't think that they deserve a license. I think that they deserve to stop making figures. Give the license to somebody else. So I was really happy to see Blitzway come back. Now, are these perfect likenesses to the characters? I think Egon is pretty good. I think Ray is pretty good. I even think Winston's pretty good. The Bill Murray scared sculpt does have an element of softness to it that I don't totally love, but I still see Bill Murray more in that one than, again, in Star Race and in the Present Toys versions that are out there in the market. So the other exciting part there, though, was that this looks like it comes with secondary head sculpts as well. So if you're not happy with this version, there is something that you can swap it out to. These will be a buy for me. I think my theory is probably $300 a figure, in that neighborhood. I'm hoping it's not much more than about $1,200 for a 4-pack. If it's in that $1,200 range, it's 100% a buy for me. What about you guys? Eddie, I don't even know. Are you much of a Ghostbusters fan? Was that one from your childhood at all? Is there much nostalgia there for you, or was this like exciting news for the community but a skip for you?
I am a fan. I'm not the biggest fan. I definitely saw the first movie as a kid. I've never to this day seen the second one ever. And it wasn't a super nostalgic. The only reason I'm nostalgic for it is because it's the 80s and I love the 80s and I love movie movies in general. And like I said with the other stuff, is like it's such a big part of pop culture that I love it for that reason. And I do like the first movie. Like I'll go back and watch it. This would also be like a Halloween movie for me because it's like Ghostbusters and like so this is more like my Halloween kind of thing. But I think it's cool that they're doing them because I think that it sucks if you want them now. You have to pay that crazy price point, and I know a lot of people want these. So it's a what is it like win lose situation, I guess. But it's awesome. I think they look really good. I like the likeness. I like how Dan Aykroyd has the cigarette hanging out of his mouth. I think that's a cool. I like when they do like out of the box things like that. So it's cool. I probably, if I had like just any budget and I had a big display space with all kinds of movie history stuff in it, I would get them for sure because I think they deserve like to be in a collection of movie. Someone who just loves movies and collects movie stuff, I feel like I would love it for that reason. But because I'm so limited on budget and space, I'm gonna pass on them.
That's fair. I would love to see a Gozer the Gozerian, in here as well. I needed to have him posed up against somebody, and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is just too big for most people's display. So it'd be like 21 inches of Venom, except for even like double than that. You hate to see it, but yeah, Gozer the Gozerian. We need that in there. Now, Eddie, you also may have noticed that there are the Homelander and Butcher head down there as well from Blitzway. I think you are a Boys fan, if I'm not mistaken. Was that a piece of info there that you were excited to see?
I think they look really good. Like I think those look just in that blurred out picture down there that the light up effect looks really good. And
bright.
I am a big Boys fan. I don't think I'm gonna collect from the show though, because I think it still falls into that like, do I love the characters enough to sacrifice the limited space and funds that I have to collect? And I don't think I love them enough to at least have them in my collection, but I think they're sick. Because I would be torn, because I think Homelander is the best character in the show, period. But he's the bad guy, and I'm a good guy collector. Like, that's where I collect. And Butcher is cool. I don't think he's as cool as Homelander, though. So that's why I'm torn on, like, I wouldn't get both, and I'd rather have just Homelander, but I'm just knowing me. Villains never make it that far in my collection unless it's like Batman Forever. So yeah, that's where I hang up on.
Totally. What about you, Lewis? Are you a Ghostbusters guy? Is this something that you were excited about? What do you think also people are feeling who have the Gen 1 versions? I know some people significantly overpaid for those 1.0s. I think I saw it was an eBay sale, something like $3,000. Somebody had paid only days before these were teased. Like, man, that's got to be a thorn. What are your thoughts there?
100%, man. I am happy for those that obviously wanted this. You know how I feel about that, the reissues and the V2s. I'm not a fan of it. I feel that if you really want something that bad, then you just got to pay for it. Like, that's the hobby. At least when I got into it, I got into Hot Toys in 2011. By that time, the DX01 was out, the DX02, and those were sold out, and they were fetching top dollar, and I bit the bullet, and that's just how it goes. But for this, I would be inclined to get it, but I feel bad. Like, that's the first thing I thought of was those buyers. As soon as this popped up, I said, I feel bad for those buyers. It wasn't even like, oh, I'm getting it. It's that remorse, right? But on the buying side, since I missed out at the time, I would for sure pick these up. I don't know if I am, because of space as well. But if I did, I'd pick up one for the movie, I guess the iconography, really, kind of having the one representation for these franchises. They look great for the most part, and definitely beats Star Ace. But, it's a tough pill for sure.
It's a low bar, but...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I may pick up at least one of them. To me, personally, it would either be Egon or Venkman, but you know, it's tough. You can't have one without the other, and vice versa. So we'll see. I did hear that no go on the reissue for the Ecto one, so that will probably go up even more so now that these have gone up for the reissue or the V2. So if you are in the market for the Ecto, probably pick it up now before these release, because that will just keep going up. But I mean, it looked great. Definitely a maybe. But yeah, I just feel terrible for those buyers that thought, hey, I finally got it, decent price, and now this comes out. So I'm just not a fan of that practice. But I get it. And it makes a lot of people happy who weren't in the hobby at the time. But if you want something really bad, you're going to do what it takes to do that. So
Totally. Jazzy says 3,400 last sold on eBay September the 14th. Man, whoever sold it got a great deal, and whoever bought it, poor bugger. Hate to see it. Let's any channel members out there, put a Nutbuster logo in the chat for me, okay? For that poor soul out there who bought it at $3,400.
What's the eBay return policy?
Yeah, right. No doubt. Jesus. You hate to see it.
Yeah.
You hate to see it. And if Classy Thomas was here, he'd probably say that Venkman looks like an old woman there. That's what I'm picturing. I need to clip Classy Thomas so I can just add him in whenever he's not here. I love to see it. But this is a 100% a buy for me. I am very excited about these. Sorry to hear all the folks out there who had these, though. I can understand why that'd be frustrating. I was pretty confident that in terms of reissues, these ones would be figures that would stand the test of time as never really coming back, at least not from Blitzway. It sucks to be wrong, but sometimes it's great to be wrong as well. Guys, let's move on here. We've got the Gus Fring figure from Mars Toys has been released. We don't need to cover this too much. More of just a piece of news for everybody that watches Let's Get Nuts. If this was one you guys were excited about, of course, actor is amazing. I love him. I think that the likeness here looks pretty good. And for Mars Toys, I think that they've done a great job with kind of the battle damaged, exploded face look, as well as the bloodied battle damage on the hands. I think that that's really good. To be honest, I actually think the battle damaged face looks a little bit better in terms of paint applications and damage than my Hot Toys Two-Face figure does, which was, even on the 2.0, was traditionally a little bit on the weak side in my opinion. But this guy's come out, so if you're looking forward to this one, I am excited for you guys. We also got Hot Toys Bane that came out this week. This was one that I wanted to take just a couple minutes on because I am a huge Dark Knight fan, as most of you are aware. And I have the 1.0 in my collection, but I've been talking about this guy and looking at the pictures and everything and watching all the live streams, this week. And one thing that I have to admit is, it pains me a little bit to hear so many people ragging on the 1.0. People saying the 1.0 is now obviously terrible. It's not great. The body was too skinny. We needed a beefier Bane. People had been doing like body swaps on that Bane for a long time. So I can understand why people were wanting a bigger, more juiced up looking Tom Hardy Bane in their collection, especially for the seamless look. I think that that's fantastic. I hate the wrist peg, but you could get maybe like a little sweatband or something if you wanted to hide it. You could futz that in a little bit if you wanted. But I wanted to show you guys some photos and then just see if you guys are on board with me or if you still think I'm maybe out to lunch and that the new one is just so much better. Because when I look at the picture of Tom Hardy on the left, he is absolutely a pretty jacked dude, no doubt. But he's got a bit of a gun on him. He's a big boy. He's a hefty boy. He was never a bodybuilder, though. And I think that the Hot Toys 2.0 truly makes him look like a bodybuilder in the jacket. You see him on the left there holding up the picture of Harvey Dent. Look at the neckline for the actor himself. He's not just so swollen jacked coming out of his neckline like you see on the right-hand side with the 2.0. When I compare that same photo with the 1.0, so it's my picture of the 1.0 in the middle, and then the newest 2.0 on the right-hand side, next to the actual actor likeness, in my opinion, and that's for what it's worth, I still think that the 1.0 is actually better body proportions to the actor in the costume than the 2.0 gives us. I think when we close our eyes as collectors and we think back to that movie, we remember Bane being a hulking presence. But Tom Hardy's not a very big guy. They used some pretty strategic camera work to make him look as big as they did. And when you see him again on the movie or in the film, he's not quite as big as I think people seem to remember him on. Now, one of the areas that I think this new version is superior is in the mask, in the paintwork. I do think that there's some improvements there. The 1.0 that you see in the bottom right corner is missing that portion of his eyebrow, just like in the movie, whereas on the newest version, they penciled that in a little bit more. It looks a little bit less like he's missing kind of a chunk of his eyebrow. Not the end of the world, but something to note. I do think that the mask is more film accurate, though, for sure. But even still, I don't think that the 1.0 is a slouch, and I don't think that it deserves the hate that it's receiving. And after comparing these, I'm wavering a little bit on whether I need the 2.0 or not. So I'd be happy for my mind to be changed. Let's see here. Who do we want to go to first? Lewis, what do you think, buddy? Am I crazy? Do you think people are being a little too critical of the 1.0, saying that it's basically trash now? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I had the 1.0, sold it. I will say that you could justify getting just the head for the 2.0. If you could swap out the head, I think the eyes is the biggest benefit or bonus for me, because 90% of his performance was all in his eyes, and the fact that you can move them, that would justify just buying the head parted out. To me, I always saw this Bane with the big coat, and yeah, it looks better on the V1. I think the Hot Toys, the V2, it just does not look that good, and it doesn't look that accurate. But then that defeats the purpose if you're going to have the coat on the V2, because it could stain it, right? So that's where, if the look for you for Bane is no coat, you can't go wrong with the V2. But if the coat is more iconic, which to me it is, then I would stay with the V1 and just buy the head sculpt separately. For me, since I sold it, I am going with the V2. But if I only had the V1, I would for sure just buy the head sculpt, because I wouldn't display it with no coat. He has to have his coat for me. I think the coat even looks a little longer on the first one versus the second one. I think it kind of goes up above his knees on the second, goes past his knees on the first. It just looks more natural to me. I think because of the bulkness of the body of V2, it just doesn't fit right. So yeah, I think you could skate by with just getting the head, and it'll probably look great, because I think the head is slightly larger in the second one. People complain it was slightly smaller on the first, so it could be a good combination. I would do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's a great way to segregate that, even in my mind and in other collectors' minds. Like, if you want to display him without the jacket on, I think the V2 looks freaking awesome. And I'm disappointed actually that in none of the promo shots for the V2 that they actually took his vest off entirely as well, just to see how like either ripped he looks or like like what he looks like otherwise. Because I mean, there is that iconic scene with him down in the sewers where he is like completely shirtless, and like that's a pretty freaking awesome scene itself, right? And the 1.0, you can take all of it off if you really wanted. The 1.0, I hated what it looked like in terms of the arms, in terms like the seams at the elbows and the wrists and everything. It was really freaking ugly. The only way in my mind you could justify displaying this was with the jacket on. And I know that a lot of collectors had flaking issues. Collector Joey here is actually saying the same, joking, I'm mad because my code on the 1.0 flaked to hell. He's like, throw the 1.0 in the trash. I hate to see it. But I am, after comparing photos, I'm still not convinced that I should ditch my old one and spend those big dollars on the next one. I still think it looks pretty good. The only thing that I'm also a little bit worried about is I still actually have a modified DX12 in my collection in terms of the Batman. Jackson Jew cape and the Armory head sculpt. And I actually really like that Batman, but next to the 2.0 Bane, he would be like way underscaled at this point, which means if I get the 2.0 Bane, I also feel like I have to get one of the upgraded Batman, and then you're just spending money left, right, and center, right? Eddie, what are your thoughts here seeing some of these comparisons? Do you think people are crazy by saying the 1.0 is trash, or do you think the 1.0 is trash and they should definitely go with the 2.0? What are your thoughts?
You made your own argument against yourself that I was going to make against you,
hate to see it.
and you don't have him pose with the jacket off, which is the reason I think you get the new one.
100%.
You got to keep the jacket on the first one in order for him to look good, and even in that one, I still think the jacket should look tight on him and look like it doesn't close all the way in the front, because in my mind's eye, at least, I haven't seen the movie in maybe a year, but that's how he looks. And I agree with you. I think the new one is more jacked than Tom Hardy actually is in the movie. He's not that big. He's big. He's just not that big. But I still feel the jacket kind of sat tight on him. I don't think it closed as much as you have it posed in the picture. Even though it looks good, I still think that it should be more open like that with his shoulders, because he has big ass traps. So it would look more like on the right to me than it would fully closed. So I don't think you need to, like, I don't think the first one sucks. I just think that you keep the first one, and you could either keep the jacket on him, or you can use the jacket from the second one, from the what is that, the stock scene or what, when he has the other brown jacket on that's closed. You could put that on the first one, unless you need the funds to get the second one. Then you'd obviously have to sell that. But you wouldn't even get that much funds from that one, because everybody wants the new one now. So you'd get a little bit, but you wouldn't get what it used to be worth, or even, so.
I mean, I got mine loose out of the box for $110 Canadian.
You
like
definitely get
several years
110.
ago.
So
Yeah.
then
Right.
there's that. You'll at least get that back. But I don't think it sucks. I just think that the big draw for me personally, I'd want him without the jackets on, and that is the second one. But I actually think it's a good thing if you have the first one, because you could have both looks and you don't need to decide, so.
No, that's fair, buddy. Yeah, and you're right. I made the point against myself in the sense of, if you want that exposed look, the 1.0 just does not do it. It never looked good without the jacket on. We got Dean Martin in the chat here. He says, does Ben know we love him? I love you too, buddy. Thanks for being here. We got 80 people still watching live. If you can hit the like button for us, definitely appreciate it. Let us know in the comments if you're watching live or on replay. Is the 2.0 necessary if you have the 1.0? Should you make the change? Is there a this or that video contender that I should consider for people out there who are maybe on the fence like I am? We got Niculio in the chat saying you only need the 2.0 Bane if you have the DX19 Batman or the new Armory Batman in order to match the scale. It's the scaling issue that I have a big challenge with right now. Even my Catwoman is bigger, taller than Bane and my Batman in the collection right now, because she's the 2.0. She looks weird. I think maybe that's not contributing to, or is contributing to why I'm not loving that figure. But let's move on, because we've got a whole bunch more still to go through. I'm going to breeze through some of these really quickly. Just a reminder, IG-12 has come out. If you're looking for a place to put your Grogu, here's one of them. To be honest, I know a lot of folks have really fallen out of love with Mandalorian, which is sad, because I do really love the first season. Elements of the second season I really loved as well. Third season didn't stick the landing for me, which did diminish my love for it. I am excited to see the Mandalorian film, and there is confirmed news now that that'll actually be it for the Mandalorian, that they're not looking at doing a fourth season. So look forward to the movie. Hopefully it's good, but then I think that's pretty much it. But this guy has been released as well. And then, of course, Harley Quinn popped up this week. I know 12-inch Moose Stream was mentioning his challenging pre-order session. Like I said, I did miss mine. I did a this or that video on this figure this week. I don't think that this is the same head sculpt, but I was challenged by a lot of people by saying, essentially, no, it is the same sculpt. It's just different paint applications. It's hard to tell because she's got black lipstick versus red lipstick. But I honestly think her jaw structure looks slightly different. I think the eyes look slightly different. Obviously, the brow line is a little different. But again, if it was tilted exactly the same way, would I maybe see it? I was curious with you guys if you ended up pursuing the artisan figure. For me, I honestly wish they'd given us a sculpted option so that for the folks who missed the artisan one, they could still get a Harley in their display. Because now that I've missed the artisan one, I'm like, well, shit, now what do I do? I really want a Margot Harley in my collection. But I was curious, because the other part of this figure that I thought was interesting this week was a lot of people saying this doesn't look like Harley Quinn. And while I think it's not perfect likeness, for the most part, I really do see Margot Robbie here. My question is, are we starting to become almost too critical of sculpts lately? because there was a time, maybe 10 years ago when I was kind of getting into it, that I would have thought that this was like her in the picture. And now I see people saying this doesn't even look like her. Who the hell is that? And I'm like, that is wild to me. So X-Men, I know you were really excited about Harley. What are your thoughts on the new version? Is this the definitive Harley to have now? And what were your thoughts on Artisan, the Artisan release?
I think that it is a sign of the brilliant time that we live in, that we can see a really, really decent head sculpt and find something to not like about it.
Mm-hmm. True.
Because the technology has come so far,
So far.
and and that's great. I think that this is. I'm not mad at this sculpt. I'm just disappointed. Because I don't think it's the same sculpt, but it's the same sculpt.
Yeah.
It's not, but it is. Like, we've had this look already, and I like a lot of folks take on it how, and I agree, where this isn't bad. This is very representative of Harley. This is a very good expression for her, and it makes a lot of sense. But maybe have a second head sculpt that's not this, or maybe just do something that's a little bit different. But as far as I'm concerned, this is the definitive version. This is the perfect crossroad between comic, cartoon, movie. Margot Robbie was perfect. They couldn't have cast Harley better, I don't think. And this is the suit that I wanted. I got basically what I wanted with this figure. The only thing is that, like, this is the least artisan of the artisan line, right? And you got this standing next to Beetlejuice, who is the most artisan of any figure at all, and he's not even in the line. Like, what is that all about? Like, but at the end of the day, I was all in on this figure. I was prepared to not get her on launch day and have to just bend over and take it so I could get her somewhere else. I was fully prepared for that, and I'm glad that I didn't. And like Moose was saying,
I will say that is commitment,
dude. This is what I want. I forgot about InArt Superman when I saw this.
Interesting. Okay.
So I love this. I absolutely love this. But like Moose was saying, because when I got in, I had my laptop up, I had my phone, I had my PC, I had two different browsers up on my laptop. So I was in 4 different ways, and they each got in immediately. I never saw the queue.
Wild.
I was there like 2 minutes before it started. I never saw the queue. But it was freezing up. It took, like he said, about 10, 15 minutes. I was sitting there hitting the button, put in the cart, and it kept timing out and take me to the timeout screen. So I had to, refresh, and kept refreshing on all of them. And for about 10 or 15 minutes, I was doing that. And then she finally got in my cart. And then I finally got her, and I got her, and it was great. And everyone I've talked to that had wanted her, it seems, has gotten her. There's been a couple of folks who just weren't able to do it because they were busy doing something else, like they were at work or something, who missed out on it, is what I've been hearing. I haven't heard of anyone that didn't get her that was there in line. I'm sure there are people who didn't, but I haven't heard it. And I heard that, like, I saw that for the next hour or so, she was still showing available. And I'm wondering, because people have been puzzling over that, like, why did it take so long? And I'm wondering if it's just because the site was going so slow that everyone was, sitting there for however long they were doing it, trying to get her in the cart. Because, like, with the brown suit Wolverine, I spent 45 minutes on Sideshow trying to put it in the cart, and it kept saying, it's in the cart, it's in the cart, it's in someone else's cart. And then he went to waitlist, while I was sitting there clicking on it, watching it tick down to almost gone. It's going away. It's gone. But, like, and I wonder if that's what happened here. I don't know. But I'm glad I got mine. I'm glad that it seemed like a lot of the people who were really after her, who were there at the moment when it happened, seemed like they were able to get in. So that's good. I think, I don't know. I don't know how many people who haven't gotten her,
That's fair. Well, and as I said, I was about 15 minutes late to the game, and then it was pretty much gone at that point. So I was screwed.
Okay.
But this time I actually didn't do what I did with the Black Widow figure artisan one that I tried to get. I was in queue, I was ready, I was in line and everything, and then got into line and ready to pay, and realized I hadn't signed into Sideshow. So then it made me sign in, but then because it made me sign in, it glitched and sent me back to the back of the line again, and I missed it.
Oh, no.
I was like, don't pull a Ben, okay? Like, be better, be smarter. That
Yeah,
was
see, I
horrible.
screwed up on my payment
What a
info.
waste of time. I was so pissed.
Yeah, see,
But thankfully not the case. Austin Nicholas, shout out to Austin Nicholas there. He says, we should get a second sculpt for that price point. I agree with that, A. What do you think, buddy? In terms of the price point, this figure itself, do you think that this is the same sculpt, or is it just too similar? Should we have got something different? What are your thoughts on this one?
I think it's the same. It looks the same to me. I think I made that point, and someone said because you can see the teeth on the first one that it's not the same, and I was like, oh, that's a good argument, I guess. And seeing them side by side, they do look like slightly different, even though it's the same expression. Mm-hmm. Something about them looks different. I liked it a lot on the first release. I don't love it on the second release. I don't know why that is. Maybe her makeup changes her likeness on it, because on the second one it doesn't even look like Margot Robbie to me.
Oh, it loses it for you. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't. But also, the first one was awesome. I owned the first one for a while, and I think that's one of the figures I regret selling because I think it's amazing. I don't care much for the look in the second movie. I didn't care much for her character in the second movie too much. So I personally would rather have the first one, but I don't think that's anything to do with the figure. I think the figure is great and the outfit's cool. I just prefer the other one, but I do think the likeness is better on the first than it is on the newer one. And I would have preferred to have a different sculpt, like maybe just her smiling and not doing that. I think they should have done something different, but
it would be weird to have both figures in your display, especially if they were in close proximity to each other, doing the same mouth thing. Like she does open her mouth a lot in the movie, but like I wouldn't necessarily say it's like her iconic expression either. But she does. She's pretty wild. But it would be weird to have them both side by side. I agree. With that.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. If you're gonna have them both, then you're gonna have the same thing on both of them. That's true.
It seems odd. It seems like an odd choice. Guys, let us know in the comments what your thoughts were on the pre-order process there in the queue. Did you have the same issues that X-Men Supreme and our buddy Moose out there had? Was it smoother for you? Do you have a different strategy you guys have been working lately? I tried it on 2 screens, as I said, but I was just too late to the game. So if anybody out there got one and they want to poke me on it, I may cop that from you guys. Shout out Copper Drop, Collector Joey. Love to see it. Let's move on. I want to talk about the stuff that we saw at Wonderfest. So I'm going to just really quickly breeze through a couple more here before we jump over to the Wonderfest stuff. Guys, 85 people watching. This is a record for Let's Get Nuts. I'm so excited to be here. I'm glad I woke up enough to have the stream today with you folks out there. We got Commander Krug from Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, my apologies, The Search for Spock. I love this figure. I am very excited to get him in my collection here. I've been waiting on Sideshow. They've delayed him like several times. I think it looks a little weird only because he's got the sculpted eyebrows but the rooted hair, so I think they look a little bit weird on the front of his face like that, but overly this is Christopher Lloyd in the Klingon makeup. I freaking love the character in the movie. I love The Search for Spock, the film itself. I can't wait to get this. Nanjin from Exo6, the developer, has been showing photos on his Facebook of both these. I think these might be his photos or one of his artists, so shout out to them. But they've been showing the production, so all the crew standing in line ready to go out, it looks like. So for everybody out there like me who's excited for this Klingon in your display, hopefully we'll start seeing them come to everybody's collections. Once I get this in hand, I will definitely do a review for the Star Trek fans out there. We also got John Wick Chapter 4. We got Kane. Love to see this. I really am excited for the John Wick figure. I think it looks really, really good. I kind of forgot this one was coming, though. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because there's been like an absolute shitstorm of figures this year from every company that this one just fell by the wayside in my brain. This isn't one that I've had on pre-order, but I do think that the figures turned out really, really well. Glasses, I find traditionally are a bit of a pinch point for Hot Toys. I think glasses on figures looks weird sometimes. But of course, the character is blind in the movie, and I think the glasses look fantastic there. They also give him kind of the blind eye look, which is really good. I saw somebody ask if they had the rolling eye system so he could look at you, and I was like, I don't know why you would, but it seems a little strange. But were any of you guys on the panel picking this one up to go with along with the John Wick, or just maybe a standalone?
I have him on pre-order.
Yeah.
I think his character is awesome, and I think the movie is awesome, and it'd be nice to have him with John Wick. I don't know if I need him anymore. It might have been more recency bias and like the movie. I do think it looks good. I just personally, I feel like he might not be a character that I need, because I don't necessarily need anyone with John Wick, even though it'd be cool to do pictures, and I think the figure looks great. I don't know if I'm going to keep the pre-order anymore or not. We'll see, but I think it turned out good.
This does feel like one of those priority figures where in the moment when it comes up for pre-order, you're like, oh, hell yeah, that's going to be a great display. And then 6 months later, when we've just been getting friggin' everything else that we're going to talk about for the next half an hour, it's like, maybe this one could go. Maybe this one I could save the money on, right? So interesting. Lewis or X-Men, or these guys, was this one coming to your displays?
No, I don't have any John Wicks that will be coming home. So great designs, great content, but I'm okay in skipping those, saving the money for the stuff I love and really want now.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a couple of people out there say that the tailoring is off. I don't see that. I think that this looks pretty tight in terms of the tailoring. I think the head sculpt looks exactly like the actor. I think it's pretty good. I just think it might be one for a lot of folks out there that, unless you're a huge John Wick collector like the Bob Dylans of the world, shout out third time to Bob Dylan, let's be honest. I don't know how many people are going to keep this one in their display, but we'll see. Final slide before we quickly jump over to the Wonder Festival. Star-Lord, wow, that's a hard one to say, quickly has been also released for the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 film. I think the likeness is pretty solid. I like this little group of characters that they've already got out here now. I think it looks good. I am excited to see what Nebula comes out looking like, because I thought she was one of the strongest sculpts from the pre-order photos from the Guardians line. I really did love Guardians 3. But again, this is one of those displays that when they were being pre-order announced back, a year ago, a lot of people were like, oh man, I'm getting this whole line, because the movie was recent. It was fresh in our hearts, fresh in our minds, made most of us cry at least once throughout that film. Let's be honest. And so when things hit you in the emotional feels like that, it's easy to justify having these in your display. And then a year later, we're going to talk about Alien and Terminator and all this other stuff. And I think a lot of these characters are going to fall out of people's displays. But I'd love to be wrong, but it's hard to say. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we see a lot of these down the line on some bargain bin sales, to be honest. And that's something that I might keep an eye out for. I would love to get Star-Lord, but not this version, to be honest. I always liked the look of the ragtag bunch of, kind of convict-looking dudes and group of folks from the first film and the second, and what they looked like in their original outfits. I never liked the team suit all that much, but I did see a version 1 of Groot and Rocket go up on Facebook Marketplace recently. I'm kind of considering maybe getting that one, because I think that Groot is pretty freaking cool. Are any of you guys interested in Guardians? Do you think I'm hitting in the right ballpark there when I say maybe these aren't going to be a priority for people anymore? Now we're just too far past it. Lewis, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I mentioned previously my Star-Lord top look is Volume 2. I like the trench coat look. I like the the drink lettering shirt that he has, the medallion, the headphones. I feel like ever since Volume 2 within the movie, no longer the same Sony Walkman. So that's just my top look. Volume 2 Star-Lord. Me being the kind of kit basher, I should say, I would probably try to pick up this head sculpt and see how it would look on the Volume 2. But if I could only pick one Star-Lord, it would just be Volume 2. Same with Rocket. He came with both portraits. And then, yeah, Volume 1 Groot. I still think that's the best Groot. So, and I have Yondu too, so that helps. So,
Sorry, I muted myself so you guys wouldn't hear my button clicking. I think that's great. You said the Volume 2 of Groot?
Volume 1 Groot, and then Volume 2 for all the rest.
Oh, for all the rest. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What, X-Men, Eddie? Any of those ones standing out to you in terms of displays? Do you think there's going to be some shelf life, or do you think bargain bin down the line? What are you thinking?
Bargain bin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'm
agree.
still in the process of canceling my Guardian
Oh, no.
3 because Crosshair scared me, man. Crosshair scared the hell out of me. I was gonna get the Bad Batch, and I was like, okay, let's go do it. And when I finally decided to do it, when I saw they were doing them all, I went over there. I was like, let's go get it. And then I saw Crosshair was gone. Okay, he's not on Sideshow. He's not over here. He's not over here. Holy crap, he's $800 on eBay. No, I'm just not. So I didn't do it. And then I saw this. I was like, well, they're gonna do it. I love the team suit, and I love them all in it. I think it's so great, and the figures all look, as good as they did with the prototypes. They did the change on Rocket, but whatever. I think it looks great. And I'm looking at them now. I'm like, I really, really still want them, but also I don't want just 4 of them. I want the whole team.
True.
So maybe later
Well,
I'll get them when they cost less. Maybe, I don't know.
It's interesting you mentioned the Bad Batch, because honestly, when the first couple Bad Batch figures were announced and teased, honestly, I remember most of us back then being like, yeah, but are they actually going to make all of them, like, legitimately? And then now that they have, I'm like, wow, okay, bravo, Hot Toys. They did it. They delivered. And then there's this team suit of Guardians, and we still don't have a Drax in team suit. We don't have Mantis in the team suit. We got Mantis from the Christmas display, but, like, once again, if it's a team suit look, if you're going to go down the team line, you got to give us the team, because otherwise, like, what the hell is the point? And I got to say, the Drax 1.0 next to these new figures nowadays in terms of paint apps, it just doesn't cut it anymore. It looks like an old figure, pretty dramatically comparative.
And will they be too short now too? Because
Well, that too, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
what is
Star-Lord will be
1/6?
bigger than Drax.
are they 1/6 now, or were they 1/6 before? Well,
Literally.
which one is it?
Literally. Guys, let's move on. We got one final thing that I want to talk about today, and of course that is Wonderfest, or Wonder Festival, I should say, 2024. And if Facebook will let me go through all the pictures, sometimes it glitches a little bit. I think this was a pretty cool event, similar to what we did with the InArt figures at the beginning of the show. I'm going to quickly scroll through them all, give you some of my highlights there, and then I'll be curious to see from my panel what are some of the highlights for you guys. I think the festival looks very cool. We saw a Tony Stark there. Of course, we saw our Harley Quinn, of course. I think she looks great there. Was it Savage? I forget his name now. Savage Press, yeah. I'm not a big Clone Wars guy, admittedly so, unfortunately. So while I see a lot of you folks being very excited for this one does not have a place in my heart, but looks cool. To me, looks a little on the animated side, which is where it comes from. So that would make sense. But next to a Darth Maul, I think it might look a little bit weird, not going to lie. This one, the Xenomorph from the most recent Alien movie, is like... I'm so freaking excited about this. I've wanted a Xenomorph in my display for a very friggin' long time, and this looks so good. I love the skull look, that transparent piece on the front. I think that is very, very freaking cool. So I'm excited to get this one at some point in terms of pre-order. We see our Samurai Predator on display. The Terminator line was wild, what they're showing here with the T-1000 coming back around. Eddie, I know you're excited for the clean T-800 there. I've got the T-800 behind me. Great figure for sure from the original one. This one was a really interesting one. I feel like a lot of us kind of wished this into fruition. I know a lot of us have wanted a return to Scarecrow. It's interesting to see Scarecrow without the Nightmare Batman. Different outfit though, of course. The original set from Hot Toys came with the Nightmare look, but in Crane's like Insane Asylum outfit, whereas this, of course, is more when he's messing with Rachel. The maggots on the mask though are nasty. I'm 100% going to get this figure. I've got most of the Dark Knight line. This is that Venom that we talked about at the beginning of the show. Of course, I think that this is absolutely the Tom Hardy Venom body with a different paint job. And I do wonder, because again, look at the logo on the base. To me, that looks like exactly like the same font that the Venom film uses. I personally think that this is a teaser for Venom 3: The Last Dance. I think he's going to end up getting that symbol in the movie. I honestly think so. I'm okay to be wrong, but
well, here's the thing. Look at the eyes, right? Like, because Tom Hardy's Venom, the eyes are a lot more simple. This is definitely more comic book style. And the Venom, the font and everything, it's the same in the comics too. So I don't know. The only thing is that he's bumpy. He's weird and lumpy.
But I hate that then they use the same body, because like, while I think this is a great body for the film, I don't think that this is a good, accurate comic representation. Like, if I close my eyes and think of like a McFarlane Venom, he's a lot more broader and beefier up in like the like in his like his lats. And like more rounded over. He's also a different color. Like, to me, this doesn't scream comic book necessarily. This feels like it's a hybrid between the two. But you're right, in terms of the opaqueness with the Tom Hardy Venom in the eyes. Yeah, they're like more like clear, fluid look. But that's not to say that he's not going to have an encounter that changes his look in the movie a little bit as well. So maybe. Dr. Doom on display, of course. We see that Andrew Garfield we talked about a couple weeks ago. The Batman Returns. Batman is looking crispy as hell. I'm really excited to get that one in the display. Zombie Trooper there. This one, of course, the Predator. I've seen criticisms that he's a little too green. I'm not as familiar with Predator as most of you out there, so I think that this looks pretty great. I don't know if I'm going to collect from the Predator line, though, to be honest. I think I might skip it entirely. I think this is the Avengers Campus Iron Man, if I'm not mistaken, and that's all the ones that it's letting me show through. So I'll keep clicking through these, but guys, I'd like to know from you what ones stand out the most from Wonder Festival this year. What really got the juices most flowing and excited, the nut butter, if Moen might say. Lewis, I'll start with you first, buddy. What was the one that this week you're like, yeah, that's all gonna come to my display?
I'd say the Xenomorph. I passed on the first two that Hot Toys did in fear of the deterioration and whatnot, and I'm glad that they are doing it for Romulus. I think that's what everybody wanted when the film came out and it was so successful. So that's one that's coming. I'm a sucker for Tony Stark. I'm considering that one.
The suit version? Like him in a suit?
Yeah. I feel like they took the Mark VI head sculpt that's a little goofy looking, changed the hair, and made it for the Endgame version.
I can see that.
And so, yeah, I may pick that up, may not. Savage for sure, just because I'm a huge Maul fan. I like the Clone Wars, but I can't have one brother without the other.
Yeah.
And maybe Predator. I'm a huge Predator fan. I do have the classic, and I had the first Jungle Hunter. Kind of kit bashed parts from that one into the classic. But yeah, that green was the first thing that I saw. Just not a fan of that. And I think the classic still has a little bit more of kind of ideal stature for the Jungle Hunter. So I'll probably pick that one up. Passing on Garfield Spidey, I think his second suit was the best and still my favorite Spider-Man design suit. I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, and of course him. Love the Scarecrow. I've been asking for that. And geez, I keep going on. The T-1000, that was something that we spoke about the last time I was on the show. I'm like, the T-1000, if it's any Terminator release that needs a reissue, it's got to be that one. And thankfully they're doing it. Now we just need the Endo, of course. But what is that, like 5 figures I'll maybe get? Jeez.
Yeah, it seems like a ton. And like that's why I was saying earlier in the show, it's like there was almost too much news this week. Like when I was trying to figure out what short content or video content I wanted to make for the channel, I was like, where do you even start? Who is somebody going to care more about Harley Quinn than they do about all of these other characters? Like even in the back here, Eddie, we're looking at a George Clooney Batman and Robin from Batman and Robin. Like that is pretty freaking wild. I don't think it looks very good yet. At least the George doesn't look that great. But Eddie, what were some of the standouts for you in terms of Wonder Festival here? Anything that was like, oh my god, I got to get that in the collection?
Yeah, probably those two are at the top of the list. I know they showed them before, but it's good that they're showing them again because I was like, don't screw me. I think they look good. George looks like George. Like I could see it in the chin there. I think it looks better than the new 89 Kilmer does, or not Kilmer, 89 Keaton does. I think
Like
that
more
looks
of a
more like
likeness, you
George
think?
than, yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. I can see it.
I love that suit for Robin, man. That's my favorite suit for Robin
really
over
good.
the more comic colored one. They fixed the bulge. You hate to see it. He doesn't have a bulge anymore. He's less of a man now. But yeah,
They were
those are
sick
top
of people
the
calling him Throbbing, right? So.
yeah, those are top of the list. Obviously, the Terminator is another top of the list. The clean one, because I was excited to see that they were even doing one with the damaged one, but I'm just not a battle damage guy. Especially like, I want him with the full intact leather jacket and shirt and the shotgun, and I would love to have a 6-scale motorcycle to put him with the sunglasses. That's like my iconic look for Arnold in anything, I think. But so that was like super high priority for me. I do love that they're doing an alien, and I think that one's cool. I liked Romulus, but I'm not gonna lie, there's a big part of me that wishes it was the big chap redone, and I don't know that I need multiple aliens, so like part of me wants to hold out to see if they do that, but then I'm gonna be pissed if I skip this one and they never do it, because it would still be nice to have this alien. But I think I'm gonna gamble and pray that they do a big chap. Because same with the first Predator. I ordered the Feral Predator, right, from Prey, but I think I only need one Predator. It would be the Jungle Hunter, unless they ever did the Scar Predator from AVP again, because that's one of my favorites. But the Jungle Hunter was exciting to see, but I too don't like that green camo that's on the armor. It really stands out in the pictures. Those are probably my top ones. And the Andrew Garfield, I know that was announced and already put up for order, but I actually like that figure a lot, and I think in 6 scale, even though I agree the second suit is cooler, I think in 6 scale that suit lends itself better to 6 scale figures, just because of the materials used to make it. I was watching the first movie again, and the way that it bunches up in the movie is kind of the same way that the suit bunches up on a figure, and just personal little things that I've seen. I think it works better with the figure, so I'm probably gonna get that one. The T1000 is tempting to get, but I think that would just be like another Kane thing for me, or like I'd pre-order them both and then realize I only need the T800. I don't need a T1000, even though that is a big part of the second movie. Like, I still think I could live without it and just have Arnold. So
I think if the T1000 comes, though, and I'm sure he will, he needs to come with like the battle damaged pieces of him, like the half skull
head would be
up,
cool.
or like, sections where they look like he's blown up, or like blown in his chest.
They did
and stuff.
show that. Like the first one had that, or was it the Enerbay one that had the magnetic pieces that you could put to make it look like he was shot? They did show that on this, like the accessories were in front of him.
Okay.
And then he had like the swap out hand with the needle, or the pointy finger, and he had the friggin' weird metal things he had with the hooks. I think he had all that excess. Yeah, right there.
Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so those things, that would be the only way I would display a T1000. It just fully clean like this. I don't think I would ever keep them that way.
I think you can display the clean one on its own, and I think if I got the battle damage one, I'd want the T1000, because they have the same display bases, the same scenes, So I think that's how I'm gonna justify it in my head. I like how he has the arm though. For the regular one, that's still a cool option.
Yeah. My first one has that arm too, but it's the most brittle piece in the box. In fact, as soon as I pulled it out of the box, the fingers fell apart, and I had to delicately put them back together. And so that's a victim of age. I don't think that that's necessarily going to happen with this again, but hopefully they improve that aspect of it, because that was a pain in the ass. I've never been able to display the one behind me like that. But if most of you guys can see, like my Terminator right here is holding the box of roses, just like in the hallway scene when John Connor first sees him. I think that's such a cool look for him. But I was pretty excited about this. I see a couple people in the chat there saying things like Sarah, Kyle Reese, definitely needed. I could see a Kyle Reese in there. I think a lot. I mean, Michael Bihn's an amazing actor. I freaking love Michael Biehn, but I would like to see Sarah because she's such a powerhouse woman. She was one of the first, in my opinion, one of the first, like, kind of up there with Ripley from Alien, one of those first badass female characters that didn't feel forced into a movie because they're just trying to get inclusion of women in movies. It was like she was in there for a purpose, and she was an absolute badass, and they didn't cater to anybody. Like, they were just awesome. And I would love to have her in a display, so that'd be cool to see. But
it would have been cool if they did a 2-pack for the new one, and
yeah.
did John Connor too, because he's small enough he could just be like an accessory or a 2-pack. And I would love to have a John Connor as a kid to go with him. I think that would be more of a cool companion piece for me than even the T-1000. So
oh man, but I would also love to see an endoskeleton, like just a stripped down endoskeleton version. I'd love to see a Harley to go along with the clean Terminator. Like, again, I guess you would need John Connor maybe on the back of the bike if you wanted to really, create that scene, but that could look really freaking cool in the display as well. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of really good stuff here. A lot of really, really good stuff. It's hard to know what's going to come next, but I think from the last con that we saw, I can't remember which one that was. I can't remember if it was San Diego Comic-Con or what it was, but quite a few of those figures have gone up for pre-order in terms of, some of the teases that came out of that show. So we'll see. X-Men Supreme, good sir. Dave, last but not least, what are your thoughts here? What's standing out to you most that's going to be a wallet hurt for your collection?
Really, it's just the Harley for me. But seeing the expansion of the Terminator stuff, like everybody else, I'm hoping they make a bike, because I want a bike for my Wolverine.
Hell yeah!
So they put up a bike. I'm getting it. I'm getting that.
I love how you're getting a bike for your Wolverine, not for a Terminator.
Yep,
that's awesome.
Most things I do is in service of Wolverine.
That's awesome. Hey, dude, you know what though? Out of all of these, I'm surprised that it's the Harley, but I'm excited for you that then you were able to get your hooks into that one, because that's pretty cool. She does look really, really good on display here.
Oh, also
really
Savaggio Press. Now, not him particularly, but it's nice to see them doing a few more of those Clone Wars type figures, because maybe eventually they'll finally make Asajj Ventress, and I would be tempted to get her because I have the Clone Wars Ahsoka. Now, it's not going to be the same Ahsoka that she was hanging out with, because it's way earlier in the series and different outfit and all that. But I definitely would be interested in Asajj Ventress. She was a very cool character. So
absolutely,
I would definitely want to get that. So we'll see what happens.
100%. We got a couple great comments here too. Cisco Collector Mike says, "Where's our Ra's al Ghul?" 100%, dude. We never got one to begin with in the 1.0 versions. Let's get him. We need him. Brick Artemis says, "This is not comic enough for me either." With regards to the Venom, I hate to see it, but yeah, totally feel that for you, buddy. Harley spotted in there. Yep, we see that. Volume 2 Star-Lord was good enough for Collector Obsession. Doesn't need the third version. Hoping for a 2.0 Alien Warrior from Mitchell Lawrence. I could totally see that as well. He also figures that a T-1000 with the bike, or the biker police look, my apologies, could be a pretty cool look as well. A Ripley and Sarah, yeah, totally agree. I'm not bothered by John either. I could go without a John Connor. I know he's like the crux of the whole movie series, but I don't know. I could go without him myself. I feel that. Guys, that was a great show today. Thank you so much for getting nuts with us here on Sunday. We had pretty much 80 people watching the whole show, which is wild retention rate. Thank you guys for sticking around with us. Let us know in upcoming weeks what else you'd like to see from a Let's Get Nuts show. We talk about movies and entertainment and TV news, but we also get into the figure news. I want to keep making sure that this show is different than every other figure news show as well. Of course, we always have fun here no matter what, and we'll keep doing the things that we are enjoying doing here. But yeah, if you guys ever have any extra suggestions, anything you guys want us to cover on the show, I'd love to have the comments. I'm going to start trying to get better at putting it up on Instagram before the week starts. that the show is coming, so you guys know that it's coming and get prepared for it. But in that as well, feel free to send some comments if there's anything you guys want us to talk about. I'd be happy to add it in, assuming that there's some time and assuming that it's appropriate enough to address on our show. With all of that being said, X-Men Supreme, third week in a row here, buddy. Thank you so much for being here once again. Is there anything that's coming up for you this week, buddy, that you're just excited about? Any other appearances you're making on other streams? Anything that's going on?
No, nothing crazy. Just doing the life thing and waiting to see what's going to get here first. My 89 Batmobile or my mono cases. So we'll see how that goes. I might be having a bunch of boxes sitting around just taking up space for a while. But other than that, I've got my figures so far for the month. I think I got my brown suit last week. Very happy about that. Got my She-Hulk last week. Very happy about that. So,
awesome.
So I'm good to go, man. I appreciate you bringing me on here always, and being here with Eddie and Luis. It's just great seeing you guys and talking with y'all. Always a good time, man.
Hell yeah, dude.
Sure,
Thanks
man.
for being here. Thanks for always bringing the energy. I appreciate it. It gets me amped up for the show, that's for sure. Always welcome here anytime, buddy. So yeah, definitely thanks for coming back in for sure. We got Loku Lu saying here, I can't wait for that Venom figure. Dude, I can't wait to see you posing that Venom figure. Hell yeah. Loku is classic. He pushes some of his figures to the limits, way more than others might, but you get some pretty freaking cool pictures out of it. So yeah, hell yeah, buddy. Hell yeah. Eddie, Money Mendez, I'll probably see you on Tuesday night. Anything else coming up for you in life, good sir, that you're all excited about? Or just anything that you're looking forward to?
I don't know if there's anything exciting in life. I don't want that to sound as depressing.
It's all
as it
dark
is.
and depressing.
I don't got nothing. I don't got nothing like super fun I'm looking forward to, I don't think. But yeah.
The thrill is gone.
The thrill is gone.
Yeah, it was a good show, and thanks for having me. I'll for sure be there Tuesday, and I don't think it. Well, actually, yeah, next Sunday, maybe I'll be back on your show if
Yes.
Ian actually, lives up to his word and he joins and doesn't be a little bitch. But there,
I'll poke him.
there's that, and then I'll be on. There he is, just showed up in the chat. He knew I was gonna plug him. I'll be on Gio's show on Sunday.
Nice.
The movie canon. So if you guys want to check that out, it's usually starts a couple hours after Let's Get Nuts ends. So that'll be a day of streaming for me next Sunday, more than I've been doing lately. So, but yeah, good show. It's always good to stream with X-Men, and good to see Lewis again. I haven't seen him in a while. So
Yeah, brother, for sure.
Yeah, you guys are lucky you get to meet in person. I'm still virtual for most of you except for Eddie, right? So
yeah, I know, and it wasn't even that great meeting you, to be honest. So like,
yeah, I know. It was really lackluster, honestly. Yeah, there was no nuts involved at all for some reason. I hate to see it. Eddie, good to have you, buddy. Thanks for coming in today, man. I appreciate you. Luis, anything coming up on Pop Culture Relics YouTube channel? I know you were working on your collection tour a couple weeks ago. How is that progressing? Is there anything else you're excited about in life that you're all tuned up for?
Still working on it. It's pretty much done. I'm just going to be working on the music for it. My wife suggested like dramatic, kind of epic track, so I'll probably go that route. But yeah, that'll be out soon. Would love to send it your way. Again, let me know your thoughts and maybe kind of premiere it right after one of your nutty shows, of course. But that's coming very soon. Thank you. Still coming off the high of meeting Hayden and Ewan. That was pretty much the highlight for the rest of my year. So that was awesome. Great to meet them. I actually got Hayden's autograph for one of my lightsaber plaques. So seeing him twice, meeting him, really nice guy. Told him to keep doing the work. If they ask, just do it, please.
Just do it. Don't say no.
Just do it. Just don't say no. But yeah, that was the highlight. Actually getting the XM Studios Darth Maul statue. That was a statue that I've been after what feels like a couple years now. Definitely paying over retail. But as I said, something I really want, I'm going to pay for it. And that's it, right? They only made, I think, 270 of those. So yeah, that'll be... I actually sold my Mythos V2 Maul that I kind of felt forced to get. But that's gone, and this will happily replace that. But other than that, man, just enjoy being on the show. Great panel, Dave, Eddie. Good to see you guys again. Eddie, we'll definitely have to get together since we're more local. But yeah, man, you want to have a highlight, come down anytime. We'll get together with some of the other local guys, man. We'd love to have
Jealous.
you come over. So, anytime you need an extra body, let me know. If I've got the time, I'm more than happy to jump in. So, appreciate you reaching out.
Hell yeah, dude. Thanks for being here. That goes for my entire panel. Thank you guys for being here. Let's give a quick special shout out to the Tough Nut crew. We've got Elvin J collecting a weekly money, Mendez, Six Scale Mafia, Katera, Feezy's Figures, King Dingling, Sith Scale Collector, Paul Schreiber, The Batman, The Movie Canon, 1/6 Figure Focus, SpongeBob, Square Balls. Buddy, I hope you're having a good time watching the show from your hospital bed. You get better soon so we can see you back here soon, buddy, okay? Rogue One Photography, Peter Cass, Ryan Smith, Collector Joey, Sam Gist, Jose G. Hernandez, 12-Inch Moose Stream, Collection Obsession, Blur Dad Life, Mr. Inc., Rachel Miller, Honest Hansel, Action in the Box, Figurecraft, Neilerific, Action Figure Academy, X-Men Supreme, Don Matan, Kenneth Jacobson, Valkyrie Magnus, Adrian Cervantes, Alex Serrato, Christopher Balzano, Pop Culture Relics, One Adam 12, Evil Sneaker, Trevor Weed, and Big Rip. Love to see it, guys. Of course, today you're on the Ben Thomas Show. If this is your first time watching Let's Get Nuts, please make sure you both hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the content, of course. So we're going to continue to have these crazy Sundays, as well as all the other content that I like to cover throughout the week. But of course, all of that being said, Eddie, I think it's safe to say we got nuts. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Wow, what a great audience. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Because subscribing makes you feel good. Where should I go? What should I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It's gone. It's all gone.